happy to be here. The weather is bright and fair. I don't know what the weather looks like wherever you're joining from, but it's bright and sunny here, and we're happy. Okay, so today we have 6 schools on the lineups, 6 amazing schools. So parents, we're here for you. Feel free to ask questions. If you want to ask your questions live, you can indicate by a show of hand, and then we'll make it possible. But if not, you can just drop your questions in the Q&A, and we would ask those questions, and the schools here are more than happy to answer your questions. So here at the fair, you're going to be meeting the top management of different schools, and then you're going to be meeting with the management of Brains and Butter as well. So you have the opportunity to engage all of these schools. You have the opportunity to ask all those questions you've always wanted to answer. You'd learn about the dynamics of British boarding schools, the admission process, and every other thing you would love to learn. So like I always say, find a comfortable spot wherever you are, relax, and let's go on this ride together. So without much ado, we're going to get started. And the first school to go would be Farrington School, represented by the marketing manager and boarding registrar, Mrs. Fiona Vale. Good morning.
Good morning. My colleague also, Mr. Sam Palacios, who is head of boarding, is here as well. So he'll be doing most of the talking during the presentation. So
you're both welcome.
Shall I start the presentation now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So I'm Sam Palacios. It's really great to be here today. And yes, and actually, for once, the weather in the UK is really nice. So it's very sunny outside. I tried to point my camera out there, but it was just too bright. But for January, we're doing very well this morning. So I'm here today to talk about Farrington School, which is a school in the outskirts of London. And actually that's one of its real unique selling points, is that we are only 10 miles from the city centre of London, but yet we remain in very sort of green, leafy northern Kent. So you may see in a moment, if we're able to share our screen, a really beautiful picture of the campus in which you'll see forests all around us. Yeah, we can quickly hop on a bus or a train and get into the city centre inside of sort of 25 minutes. My background, before I talk about the school, is I've been a housemaster for the past 8 years, working in 2 different UK boarding schools. And I've had the real joy and the privilege of working with lots of Nigerian families during that time. So I feel I really understand the values and the sort of principles of Nigerian culture and what Nigerian families are looking for. So I'll tell you a little bit about Farrington's. One of our most amazing things is our weekend programme for boarders. So we don't have exeats. There's no need for any boarder to leave at the weekends. Obviously, with the exception of half term and the full term holidays like Easter and Christmas. And every single Saturday we have a boarders trip. So very ambitious programme, but we really celebrate that. We go into London quite a lot. Our recent trips have involved things like going to see Mrs. Doubtfire in the West End, going to Leeds Castle and sort of embracing a bit of English history and heritage. We've also been bowling and go-karting and all those sorts of things the boarders really enjoy. So that's something we really celebrate. In terms of the wider school, to give you an idea, we are a Methodist school, so we sort of embrace sort of the Christian ethos, although we do welcome children and families of all faiths and none. We have a beautiful chapel that we go to twice a week, and it's a really lovely opportunity for the school to be together as a community and reflect and just sort of have that sort of common ground, I suppose. We have very competitive fees, particularly given our location against our local competitors in London. We feel we offer a very good deal, and we're also very transparent. We don't have any hidden costs. What you sign up for is very much what you get. Academically, we have small classes, so there's fantastic amount of contact time with each teacher, between each teacher and child. And the thing that we're known for locally is a very, very high level of pastoral care. That's our very strong reputation. And as someone who only arrived here a year ago, I can tell you that's something that was a real pulling point for me. Joining the school was the pastoral care. And maybe on that note, I should reveal that my children do come to this school as well and are very, very, very happy. We have a wonderful extracurricular program called the Floriat program, where students can learn how to do archery, how they can learn to do clay pigeon shooting, cooking outside, outdoor cooking, barbecues, you name it, scuba diving. In fact, there was a very recent trip to Egypt on a scuba diving course as well, which we offered. And it very much helps having a swimming pool on site for them to train and prepare for things like that. We're very academically ambitious. We have students every year going to Russell Group universities. We have Oxbridge candidates, but we're a broad ability school, and we like to celebrate every pupil, regardless of their aims and targets. So we're very excited when pupils get amazing apprenticeship programs on the way, but also when they choose more vocational subjects as well. So we really are a school who nurtures everybody. We have a really great reputation for football as well, and our boys and girls are both very well known for their football accolades. Our girls in recent years have won several national cups, and last season our first boys team were undefeated in the league for the entire season. So really great sort of competitive athletic side to the school as well. In addition to the academics, we've got a fabulous careers program, which is award-winning. In fact, we were finalists this year in the Independent Schools Award for careers. So that's something that's, again, looking at the sort of apprenticeships and broader curriculum. That's something that really, really appeals to a lot of people. But I would like to point out, something I believe in, as well as being head of boarding, I'm also assistant head pastoral. And I really believe that education at Farrington should go far beyond academics. So one thing that's really important to us is educating about well-being and personal development and character education as well. It's something we really, really strive for. We are offering scholarships at the moment, and typically our scholarships can range between sort of 20 and even 50% for the right kind of student. So if you're wondering today what the right kind of student is for a scholarship with that sort of generosity, we're looking for ambitious young people. We're looking for students who work hard, who have really, really clear targets in their mind. But I think for us as a school, our biggest sort of driving factor would be looking for students who align with our values of kindness, of community, of compassion, and all those sorts of things. So if you feel that that's a child that's in that position and you feel they'd really align with that, please do make contact with us. I'll also just quickly mention, in addition to obviously being a very good school for football, we do have excellent sports facilities. We have gyms and obviously a sports hall, a swimming pool, which has just had a really lovely new roof installed on top of it, and all sorts of other things going on. I was hoping to share with you a little story about a Nigerian student we have at the moment, and have some pictures for you to see. But I will say, one of the really, really great things about that I've found with this particular student, his name is Richard, he's from Nigeria, is that he's integrated so well. There are other students from West Africa in the school, and he is friends with them, but he's also friends with people from all over the world. And one of the really, really great things about the community at Farrington's is there is fantastic integration. If you visited the school, you'd have absolutely no idea who was a boarder and who was a day student, because many of our day students come from all over the world, given that we're so close to London. And that's something we really, really, really celebrate. So in terms of what's next, if you think Farrington sounds like a good school for you, please do get in touch. We are, as I say, offering scholarships. We're particularly aware of the sort of currency rates issues going on, and sort of inflation and things. So we're really, really keen to maintain our engagement with Nigerian and West African families. So if you feel you would like a conversation about that, please don't hesitate to contact myself or Fiona, who's on the call as well. I think I've probably got to nearly 10 minutes. So if there are any questions, I'll be very happy to answer them. Fiona, is there anything you wanted to add at this stage?
No, I think you've covered everything, Sam.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I couldn't share the presentation.
That's okay.
Technical problems, I'm afraid. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And for anybody who's watching, on our Farrington's website, there is a really fantastic video which promotes boarding specifically, which shows you one of our trips back in September, which was going on the London Eye, doing a Thames River cruise. Getting some food, eating in the park, and heading back to school. And it also demonstrates that the local area, which is Chislehurst, which is a really lovely kind of British village feel, with ponds and ducks and all sorts like that. So do check out the video and any of our other promotional material on the website.
Amazing presentation. Thank you so much for that presentation, and special thanks for keeping to time. Okay, so yes, we have a question in the Q&A. Okay, so Walker would like to know how you help students from different backgrounds feel part of the community.
Yeah, sure. So we know that coming to a school in another country, you're quite prone to suffering from sort of culture shock, where suddenly the food is all different, the people around you, behave differently and have different expectations. So we really look to sort of bring things from home into school. So I was very lucky actually to travel last year to Nigeria, to Lagos and Abuja, and I learned a lot about the culture and the food. And actually now our chefs are cooking Nigerian food. We have some Polish students in the school who we bring sort of Polish food in as well. So I think food's a great way of doing that, of making people feel like they've got that little bit of home with them. But also I think promoting little things like having pictures up in their rooms, personalizing their space, inviting people to come and stay from the day student community, anything to kind of sort of promote that companionship and celebrate, where they're from and what their sort of heritage is.
Okay, thank you. We have a parents raising their hand. We have a hand up. Do we still have a parent's hand up? Okay, I don't think the hand is up anymore. Okay, we have one more question in the chat box. Okay, so Walker would also like to know how you prepare students for tertiary education.
Sorry, it just broke up slightly there. How we prepare students for
tertiary education, like higher education.
Oh, I see. Well, we have a really good sixth form department. So we have A-levels and BTECs and lots of guidance available. We have a UCAS coordinator who makes sure that their application to university is the very best it possibly can be. We have very good systems for tracking grades, for giving feedback to pupils and parents in a very proactive way, such that we can address any issues or difficulties they're facing. And I would also just say the class sizes at that age group, at the sort of 16 to 18 age group, are small enough that the education they're receiving is very tailored and customized to each individual. We know that no two children learn the same way. Some of them will need to learn with things they see, and some will need to learn with things they hear or things they learn experientially. And we very much use all tools and kind of wrap the education around the child.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Do we have any more questions? Parents, if you still want to ask questions, the floor is still open. Okay, so we have the lead consultant for Brains and Butter here, and she would love to ask you a few questions. And we have Dr. Alo. Dr. Alo is a lead consultant for Brains and Butter.
Okay.
Dr. Alo, good morning.
Good morning, Da Silva. Thank you very much. Just a quick question, because time really is moving and we've got so many amazing schools, but I don't want our parents to forget your school, Mr. Palacios, because I know that when you're the first act to go, as it were, you can feel under pressure and there's so much information you want to share. So I thought it'll be really good if you can tell us what you think really makes Farrington School stand out. What is so special about Farrington School? What is your USP, if you like? And knowing what you know about the Nigerian culture and what we like our schools to have, how would you bring those two together?
Okay, that's a good question. So I suppose I'll try and put it into very short bullet points so it's really clear, because I take your point. It's being first, you do sort of it all rolls away. It's good to just be clear. So first of all, I do think our location is really, really important. It gives us the opportunity to have a calm, sort of tranquil sort of lifestyle in this part of the country, whilst having all the vibrancy of London. Now, the Nigerian families I've worked with and the children I've worked with have loved going into London. They want to go into London all the time, but they want to do it safely and securely and know that there's somewhere kind of that feels like a home for them to come back to and with ease. So that's the first thing. I think the values of the school, the Christian ethos, is really important. And I picked that up a lot when I was in Nigeria, that regardless of an individual's faith, just having a structure and a sense of a sort of beliefs and of morals is really, really important. But also, I think Nigerian families want, ambitious, studious lessons and hard work and going for really, really exciting careers in the future. So those three things I think are really important. Just added with a little bit of football, because I did, when I was in Nigeria, there was a lot of football going on. I'm actually coming back to Nigeria in March, and I'm actually coming to see some football matches and to sort of engage with football with other schools. So I think those three things, plus a little hint of football, is probably what makes Farrington's very suitable for Nigerian families.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Okay, so parents, if you still want to ask any questions, Farrington School is still here. But in the absence of any more questions right now, I'd like to move on. Thank you so much for the presentation. That was amazing. And thank you for being here. Okay, so parents, okay, so I know some of you are experiencing brains and butter for the first time, and we have a few minutes. Dr. Alo, can I engage you at this time?
Yes, you can. But
Okay.
if it's okay to also go into the next, I really want us to keep to time as much as possible. But I'm happy to take a question and then we can move on to the next school.
Okay. So I just want you to tell us in brief, like briefly, what I know there's some parents who live in Nigeria and they want to bring their children to a British boarding school. So what program or what service do you have in place? I'm talking to Brains and Butter now. For parents who might not be here in terms of pastoral care, who might not be living in the UK but want to bring their children to a boarding school in the UK, do you have? I know you have guardianship facility or services. Yeah. So can you just talk briefly on your guardianship services, just briefly?
So it's interesting to know that we actually started out as a guardianship organization. So guardianship is really at the heart of what we do at Brains and Butter. So we don't just recommend schools to parents, shortlist the schools for them, help them through the admissions process, and then say goodbye. No, we're actually very much invested in the success of each child that comes to Brains and Butter. And we have lots and lots of host families all across the United Kingdom who are happy to act as guardians. We also partner with other guardianship organizations as well to look after our children. And there are lots of different things involved in guardianship services. So from providing accommodation and host family homes for these children to stay in over the exit weekend or half term, though most families will come and get their children over the half term, or they would travel back to Nigeria or to Ghana, to wherever African country they're from, but that service is there.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So without much ado, I'd like to move on to the next school that we'll be presenting today, and that's Rodin School. Representing Rodin School today, we have Mrs. A. Winnicus. She is the Director of Marketing and Admissions. Good morning. Nice to have you.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to
morning.
Rodin. I'm just going to do the first welcome, and it's really lovely to be able to have the opportunity to speak to you all this morning. I'm going to hand over to our head of school, Mrs. Neve Green, who is going to be doing our presentation for you. If you don't mind, just 2 minutes while we upload our presentation.
It's okay.
Hello, hopefully you can see this presentation in front of you. Can you see this?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Mrs. Neve Green, and I've got the honour and the privilege of being the head here at Rodin. So Rodin has got a long history. It was founded in 1885 by 3 sisters who really wanted the same for girls as for boys. So it's a school for 11 to 18 and boarding school and with some day girls as well. So that were very much part of the local community as well. So it's very much about girls. It's about empowering them, encouraging them and engaging them so they make the most of the opportunities and leave the school ready for the next steps. So this is our Rodin today. This is our community. It is a really diverse community from girls from all over the world, as well as girls from our local community, which is Brighton, and also further afield in the UK, as well as further afield in the world. I'm just going to show you a quick video, just so you can kind of understand where we are. So hopefully that gave you just an idea of where we are situated. So as I said, it's all about empowering the girls and having an education for the girls. It's about a holistic education where we really, the girls are able to feel safe in an environment, to be able to, but also to be challenged in their environment. It's really about the girls reaching their full potential and helping them to achieve this in their in a safe environment, but also where they can kind of be challenged and have to kind of go out of their comfort zone is really important. These are just a few areas of the school that you can see. So it's not just the academic of the area of the school, but it's also really strong theatre, dance, outdoor experience. So when the Lawrence sisters founded our school in 1885 here on the kind of cliffs of Sussex, they chose this space really for its outside space. So the girls, the physical and mental health of the girls was really important to them. And that's one of the main reasons why we are where we are. Because initially, if you read back on the history, actually another place they were thinking about it was to build the school in Harrow in London. So our aims for the girls are really important. These are instilled from the girls from as soon as they start. Each year group will have one of these aims as part of their tutor time and will build towards these. We know, and you know, that being happy is really important for a girl to be able to learn. But we want them to ensure that they're also engaged, that they're curious, that they're creative in their thinking, but also independent, but being able to work in a team, and that confidence that they can then build throughout their years here is crucial. But compassion is very much part of what they want. The compassion is very important to develop them, so they are able to be part of the community, and giving back to the community is vital for the girls and the ethos of the school. So academically, as I said, the girls are challenged in a safe environment. They are free of any gender stereotypes. So all our learning is tailored towards girls' learning. They continue to be able to evolve in a curriculum. They have a say in the curriculum. So we often will ask the girls, what do you want to see on the curriculum as well? Because actually making sure we meet their needs is crucial. So it is really important to develop their skills academically so that they are building towards the next stages. As you will see, our results are very, very good. So last year, in 2024, 36% of our girls achieved the best grade. It was our largest cohort of GCSEs, but also our best results over the last 10 years. 9, which is the equivalent of an A star, was our most common grades. So the girls work very hard, supported by a specialist within their areas, but they encourage each other, challenge each other to be able to achieve that. The A-level results, as you will see, were also excellent. Again, A star to A were some of our best results. 70% of the girls went on to the first choice, both within the UK and without the UK. And we were in the top girls' boarding schools for academic results over the last year. So this is one of our many successes, and Tammy was part of our heads of school team last year. She was from Nigeria. She was one of, I believe, 4 or 5 sisters that came to Rodin, the youngest, quite quiet but very determined in what she wanted to achieve. She went on to do really well, has now gone on to King's College up in London. But she joined in year 10 and really developed her skills, her interests and her passions, and was really keen to ensure to develop that diversity and the heritage, her own heritage, to share her own heritage with the other girls as part of the leadership team of the school. Co-curricular, as I said, what you learn inside the classroom is important, but actually what you learn outside the classroom can be just as important and can really build your passions and your talents. And the grades that you achieve might help you realize these passions that you've experienced and gained outside the classrooms. There are over 140 activities that the girls can do, as you can see, from the local community, which is also very important to us. We go out to the local community to help in local primary schools. We have a farm at the school where the girls can develop their skills, or just being able around animals has that calming effect. Sport is very highly regarded within the school. We've got very competitive teams, but it's also really important that all girls are able to participate. We have a lot of girls that have never experienced, for example, hockey before, and they come, and just because they haven't experienced doesn't mean they can't grow in it. And that's really important, that the girls realize that actually trying new things and developing new skills allows you to find passions that you didn't know were necessarily there. So to bring this all together, we have our diploma. So this is over 3 stages: our lower school, our middle school, and sixth form. And our 3 themes are innovation, inspiration, and impact. And it's important that we design this really for the girls to be able to bring all the areas of the school together, so to ensure that they are diving into the different areas, that they are trying new things, and that demonstrates their commitment, their determination, and their perseverance. All of this was already in place, but the diploma really brings it all together for the girls. But we know, as we said before, that happiness and that feeling of safety is really important and underpins all successes. We look after the heart, the head, and the body. And all of that underpins our holistic education. You will see from these pictures, a lot of these are within the boarding houses, that those friendships that the girls make within the school last a lifetime. But they are built here within the boarding house, in those bedrooms, in the common room. The chapel is at the heart of our school. We have chapel every week for the girls to be able to sit, either if we accept girls, it's a community of girls with faith and no faith, but that time in chapel is a time of reflection as well as prayer. As I said, the boarding is a huge part of the community. Half of the girls at the school board. We have full boarders as well as weekly boarders. But what's really important is that the girls are able to go out and be part of our community. So full boarders go out to weekly boarders' houses at the weekends. They can go and visit families. We do not have any we have exeats where there is no sports fixture, so the girls are able to go out, but they can go out at any weekend or stay in at any weekend. And I think that's really important for the families to know that. We have the girls, we have a dining room, but there's always food within the house. As you know, or you may not know, food is a very important part of boarding life, and especially here at Rodine. The girls have kitchens where they are able to cook together, but they have dining as well. We try to push the boundaries as well for the girls, but in a safe environment. They really learn what's really important. We know the world at the moment is, an uncertain place, and actually the importance of learning to live with people from different cultures who may think differently to us, who might have different tradition and heritages, is vital. And that is really important, that the girls develop those skills and the knowledge to be able to adapt and learn how to live and work with others from other communities. I'm just going to play you a quick video from Anose. So Anose joined us in year 7. She's now one of my prefects. She's just about to sit her A-levels this year, but she came in year 7, and I'll let you kind of listen to her, how she explains her journey throughout the school.
Hello, I'm Anose. I joined Rodine when I was in year 7, and I'm in year 13 right now, and I'm a senior prefect. I'm from Nigeria. Some of the things I really cherished as a Rodine girl is the fact that I can dabble in multiple different aspects of the school. I'm not only restricted to one aspect. I can do drama, sports, and I could do well in academics and still feel very, very fulfilled at the end of the day, because I know I've used every single facility afforded to us in the school. One of the things I really enjoy about being a boarder is, well, there's not one thing, there's multiple different things. I would say is just the friends you make along the way, the fact that your home is and your bed is in school, so it's quite flexible and useful, and also just the fact that the boarding staff are incredibly kind and helpful, and they're always there to listen at every time and any hour of the day. Being so far away from home, it's quite hard and quite difficult, especially when you're young and you start pretty young. I started boarding in year 5 and I came here in year 7, and I would just say a coping mechanism is just your friends, because your friends really make you feel like home. The love that you have from home is like shared amongst your friends. And I'd also say it may seem difficult at first, but it definitely gets easier when you immerse yourself in different sports and just different aspects of the school, because it's almost like time has passed really quickly, so it doesn't make it feel like I'm missing home at all. The thing that the school gave to me was an opportunity to be in leadership, because I'm currently in the head of school team, and when I was year 7, I never even thought of being a prefect. That was not even in my thought process. Just getting to the next class was more important to me. But the fact that the school and all the staff and pastoral and everyone has really guided me along the way to the point where I felt comfortable to put my name forward, and just the fact that it's an opportunity afforded to me is just amazing, and something I'd never ever have dreamed of in my wildest dreams. So that's something I really cherish, and just like many people I can help in my role as head of school for boarding, diversity, inclusion, sustainability. message to anyone considering grading, I would say it may feel like it would be a bit daunting at first, but one thing I realized is that everybody was friendly immediately right off the back. I had no problem finding any friends. And another thing I would say is get involved in everything. It doesn't matter if your niche is academics, dance, drama, just get involved in everything, because the school really has facilities for every single thing you may be interested in, and just prepares you for the real world because you already had time to develop your skills, and that's something that the school really gives you.
So that was, I thought it was really interesting for you to hear from Anose, from her journey from Nigeria to Rodin and then throughout Rodin. It's really about, as she said so well, developing each girl's individual passions and talents for them to realise things that they didn't realise were there. So they're talents that they didn't know they had, and really for them to be able to reach their full potential. What's really important is that actually the girls are proud of the school that they go to, and that from an outside point of view, we're kind of showing what we do and what the girls do best. The girls are at the heart of the school, and all of this is because of them. They're the ones that allow us to gain these accolades from different magazines or different areas of the school, so awards that we've won within the UK or further afield. And it's really important that the girls realise that we are celebrating them. We've built a really good, close relationship with Nigeria. The connections go way back to the 70s. I was in Nigeria with Old Girls just recently, and it was really lovely to keep that community going and to build up on that relationship that we have with Nigeria. So I hope today has given you the opportunity, I'm sorry if I've spoken a bit too long, the opportunity really to see who we are. We would love to hear from you. We'd love you to come and visit us or have a Teams call with us at any time. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions or you'd like some further information. Thank you. I'll now stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much for that presentation. So parents, if you'd love to ask Rodin School questions, you can we have just about 2 minutes to take your questions. And it's either you type in the Q&A and direct it to the school, or you can indicate by a show of hand and we would let you speak live. But if you remember anything after Rodin has left, you can always still send in your questions and then direct it to the school you would want to answer your questions.
I have a
question. But let me quickly ask you this. Oh, okay, Dr. Ala, please go on.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Green. And as you mentioned, Nigerians have for a long time really loved Rodin School. So you have lots of old girls, I can imagine, in Nigeria. And we've seen a number of all-boys schools now, looking to welcome girls into the sixth form. What would you say is really special about an all-girls education that has kept a school like Rodin standing for so long? And why should parents still consider an all-girls education for their daughter?
I think to me, an all-girls education is really vital. It's crucial, I think, to the girls for them to be able to develop. I think we know that during their teenage years, their confidence in girls can drop. But actually, research has shown that in a girls' school, it doesn't as much, because they realise there's no boundaries for them. There's no one saying they can't. There's only people saying they can. So all leadership roles, all the sports fields, everything is geared towards them. So when they leave here, they have the confidence to know they can. There is no one going to stop them because of their gender to say, you can't do this, this is not for you. And that is vital in those years between the ages really of 14 and 18 to develop those skills. So when they go on to university or go on to the workplace, they know their place and they know their rights, and they realise that they have the potential to go wherever they want to go.
Thank you.
So a parent says here, I hear that statistically girls do better in all girls school. Is this true?
Yes. Statistically, it is shown that girls do better. And I think also that girls are more likely. So I would say at our school, sciences, well, I know the sciences are the most popular subjects. So 40% of our girls go on to do sciences, which can be unusual. But I think it's that free of gender stereotypes. They do the Formula 24 car that they build. They have the engineering possibilities. The physics class is full of girls. There's no kind of, I'm not sure I should do this because I might be the only girl. And that is vital. But with the help of our old girls, we've got some really strong Nigerian girls, very powerful women who have reached the top of their professional careers within Nigeria or even the world. And they say it's thanks to the education that they got here. And they are now giving back to our community, not only to our girls from Nigeria, but also our other girls with their experience.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for your presentation and fantastic answers there.
Thank you.
All right. So would like to move on quickly to the next school to present. But parents, you can still send in your questions. All you need to do is just address it to the school you would want to answer your questions. So the schools are still very much around to answer all your questions. And Brains and Butter is the management of Brains and Butter are here to answer whatever questions you might have for Brains and Butter as well. Okay, so moving on to the next school, we have Brentwood School, and represented by Brian Hayes. He's the boarding recruitment manager. Let's make welcome Brian. Brian.
Hi, everyone. And hi, Rebecca. I spotted somebody that I know. So I have a presentation from the headmaster. So I'm going to attempt to show a video, and I hope it doesn't all go wrong. And then I'll come back on to screen. I'm boarding a recruitment manager. So if you do apply to Brentwood, the whole process will go through me, but I'll explain more about that later. So here we go. Just give me a minute. See my screen? Hi, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Great, thank you. Here we go.
I often get asked what I love most about Brentwood School, and I always give the same answer, and that is community. For me, Brentwood is much more of a community than a school. We have a strong moral purpose here. We want our students to do good in the world, not just well in their exams. Our community comes in part from our values. Our values, virtue, learning and manners, were first written down in 1622, so they've been with us for over 400 years. And I would argue they've never been more important than they are today. We walk the walk rather than just talking the talk. We live our values. They're much more than just posters on walls, and we ask our students and we ask ourselves to follow and use them in every decision we make, whether that's big or small. An important part of community is well-being. We want our students to feel cared for, known and valued as individuals within our school. We want all of our students to find out what it is that makes them tick. Everyone has something that makes them special, and our job with parents working together in partnership is to help every individual student find out what that thing is for them. One of the ways we do that is by providing both breadth and depth. We have a very broad curriculum. For example, in the sixth form, we're one of the only independent schools in the UK that offers 3 pathways: the IB diploma, the BTEC extended diploma, and of course A-levels. We have a vast range of co-curricular activities: music, the performing arts, sport, CCF, voluntary service, Duke of Edinburgh, you name it, we've got it. The benefit of that is it allows students to try lots of things, some of which they've done before they join us, some of which they've never tried. And we encourage all of our students to get involved, because they will find something that is going to become their thing. And of course, going back to well-being, if a young person finds out what it is that makes them tick, they are much more likely to be content, to be happy, and then of course a virtuous circle is completed. They will do well. We are blessed with fantastic facilities. We have 75 acres of green space here at Brentwood, only 25 minutes from central London. Our facilities, we have modern state-of-the-art facilities across the campus, but they are very much blended with our historic buildings. The original schoolroom, dating back to the 1560s, is still in daily use. Our chapel from the mid-19th century is used for all of our students. Our library, our Bean Library, is a blend of the old and the new, and that very much represents our school. We have deep roots that go back into our history, but we're also very forward-looking and optimistic about the future. An example of that is our newest building, a 120-bedroom single ensuite boarding house with an integrated sixth form cafe that will be opening its doors in September 2025. But much more important than facilities are people. I started by talking about community, and our people make our community. It's what makes Brentwood School special. In fact, it's what makes us Brentwood.
Okay, I hope that came across okay. So if I can add to that, so as Mr. Bond explained, we have a new boarding house coming in September. We're recruiting for that now because we're doubling our boarding numbers. We have plenty of spaces this year. So a slightly unusual position to be in. Brentwood is a very large school. There's a lot on offer. It's essentially a day school with boarding, but because of the demand for boarding, we're doubling our numbers. We're expanding our numbers. So the reason for that is essentially our IB results. We're recruiting almost exclusively for IB. We do have A-levels, we do have BTEC. I do recruit students for those subjects as well, but the IB is essentially driving our boarding recruitment. We have a 38.3 IB average. We're number 6 school in the UK for that, for boarding. Our IB boarders are coming essentially from international schools. So that's our market. And I'm hoping there are families out there right now who are on this call. Second to IB for boarders at Brentwood is probably music. We're a Steinway school and we have a specialist music program. It's a sort of pre-conservatoire program where the academic curriculum is tailored around music. Like other schools have talked about, we have boarding scholarships. We've got new scholarships that the governors have awarded for this year to mark the opening of the new boarding house. So those are available for pretty much everything to recognize, as Mr. Bond said, talent in all sorts of areas. But music would be one of the big ones that we're looking for. And we're just about to launch an international music competition with some prizes associated with that to find really talented musicians that want to come to Brentwood. Being a large school, there's a lot on offer. There's a lot of sports, but if I can just mention the ones that stand out. So I think you saw there football. That's at academy level. We've got a lot of famous alumni some professional footballers and international players and so on. That's one of them. Fencing is another, quite unusual. We're one of the 2 top schools in the country for fencing. Tennis is another at academy level. Athletics, outside of sport, but within the co-curriculum, we have a dance academy. Dance is very, very strong, driven by the music, because director of music is also director of performing arts. We are a diamond model school, so just following on there from Rodine, yes, girls do better academically together, and boys similar if you look at league tables. So from the age of 11 to 16, boys and girls at Brentwood are taught separately academically, co-curricular wise, and socially they come together. In our prep school, they're together, and in our sixth form, they're together. So we have this diamond model. That's we can offer that because we're a very large school, and we can offer so much because we're a large school. So you probably just got a flavor of that just now. So in a nutshell, I think just to add a couple of other things, we're essentially a London school. So although we are outside of London, we're on the Elizabeth line. So the newest tube line to London, 25 minutes, as Mr. Bond said, to central London. We're also in a town setting. So those are the things that really stand out for Brentwood School. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for that presentation. Okay, so we have a question for you already. And the question says, Brentwood is a day school with boarding. How do you handle weekend activities? Because this parent anticipates that the school would mainly be empty during the weekend. So how does the school handle weekend activities?
Right, so Saturday mornings at Brentwood are co-curricular. We don't have academic lessons at the weekends, but we have an extremely full co-curricular program on a Saturday morning, mostly sports fixtures, which are extensive. Being a large school, we can offer choice. So, for example, we run high-level rugby and football, 2 terms of each. You can only do that through size and maintain a high standard in both. So there's a very extensive fixtures program on a Saturday morning, but other things going on as well, like the musicians are going to conservatoires, doing their practice for that. The dance academy is going on and so on. So that's Saturday mornings. And then like the other schools, we run trips into London around Brentwood on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday evenings. Sundays are in the house. In the new boarding house, boarders will be just walking downstairs to the cafe, which is in, or cafe/dining room, which is in the boarding house, to have a brunch, and then there'll be some sort of activity within the boarding house. The last one that happened, boys and girls got together on Sunday. We offer chess scholarships as another sort of standout for Brentwood. We have a grandmaster who's the chess coach. They got together and they either learned to play chess or played against each other, the ones that knew how to play. So there's something going on in the boarding house on Saturday, on Sunday as well. Very much by choice. We don't have compulsory anything at the weekend. You know, typically for a boarding house, a traditional boarding house in the UK, there'd be Saturday morning lessons, Saturday afternoon compulsory sport. We don't have that. It's co-curricular and sport by choice on a Saturday. Boarders can have every weekend as an exeat and go home. We have, for example, French boarders going to Paris on the train at weekends, but we have plenty of boarders that stay in every weekend. So for them, there can be no exeat. So it's up to each boarder and each family what they, how they decide to do that.
Okay, so we have another question, and it says, how does the school address issues of unconscious bias and racism in the student body?
Good question. Well, I think the last inset I did, whole school inset, was on unconscious bias. You probably saw from the video, we're a very multicultural school. That's a reflection of being so close to London. So we do, for example, we have Nigerian boarders, we have Nigerian day students as well. I get quite excited when I see registrations coming in. I see the nationality of the student. I think, oh, here's a boarder. And as often as not, it's actually a day student. So we're an extremely culturally diverse school, and therefore, you know, diversity and avoiding unconscious bias is extremely important for the school and for the teachers and everyone working within the school.
What would you say is a percentage of foreign students that are in your school?
Boarders, 80% are international. The other 20% are British expats, so for Foreign Office and so on. Within the day population, I would say about a third are non-British nationalities, but obviously they're day students living in the UK.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful listening to you. I hope the parents are amazed as well. Okay, thank you. So far, we've seen 3 schools. We've seen Farrington School, Roden School, and Brent, and we just saw
I'm so
Brentwood.
sorry, Da Silva. I think a parent has her hand raised.
Oh, okay. By all means, please, can you ask your question? Oh,
Hello.
can we have?
So I'm back. I'm on now. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
go ahead. Yes.
Only because I've met Brian before, I needed to say hello. Hello, Brian. It's Bernadette. I don't think I'm sure you remember me from Independent School Show. I'm not sure if you do. I'm one of the associate consultants here at Brains and Butter. And
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Fia from Battersea. Yes, hi.
Do you remember me?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to, because there's a lot of Nigerian parents online. There's a lot of Nigerian students who will be interested in Brentwood School. Also, I know that one of the unique selling points will be that you're near London. It's a multi-cultural, multinational school. Well, what is that one thing you want to put across the Nigerian parents on the line right now about the unique selling point of your school? What is that one thing they should be looking forward to when they join as Nigerian families?
One thing I'm going to have to do, sort of wrap up a couple of things in a sentence, I think.
That's fine.
I think, obviously, you know, the schools here, they're great schools, and they're great at lots of things. I think if I had to say one thing at Brentwood, choice and diversity, I think. And that comes from being such a huge school, which such a lot on offer.
Thank you. Choice and diversity. Okay. Choice in subjects, choice in sports, choice, what sort of choices?
Yeah, all of that. I mean, a
Okay.
choice in boarding, because it can be very I was going to say flexible, but we only recruit long-term boarders. Though we do now in the new boarding house have a small number of flexi boarders. But that idea of it can be like a full boarding school where boarders are in the whole time and they're doing everything in the boarding house, or they can be away because they're not missing lessons, they're not missing compulsory sport. And so we do have boarders, for example, traveling back to places like Paris many weekends and flying back to Lisbon and so on. But some are in the boarding house the whole time and extremely busy with all the things that are on offer. But you know, so it's extremely varied. There isn't a one size fits all. We have the IB cohort, you know, with an average at sort of Oxbridge level, but then we have A level at a slightly different level, and we have BTECs as well at a different academic level. So there's something on offer for everybody
Everybody.
in
Okay.
every sort of aspect of the school.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we've seen 3 schools already: Farrington School, Reading School, and Brentwood School. Thank you, Brentwood School. Okay, so we're going to move on now. Just in case, yes, the fair is organized so that you meet so many schools, and then you have an array of schools to choose from for your children. But in case you've seen all of the schools and you're still confused, you don't know which one to choose, you don't know how to go about it, and this is where Brains and Butter comes in. So Brains and Butter would hold you by the end, take you through the process, help you to make the right choice for your children. You know, like Dr. Arlo would always say, not every school is for every child. So trust that Brains and Butter is always there by your side to help you in your choice making. Okay, so would like to move on to the next school on the lineup, and that would be Aldenham School. And representing Aldenham School, we have Liz Beach, Foundation Marketing and Admissions Manager. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all.
How are you doing?
Very well. It's our first time doing this Brains and Butter Fair. It's been really interesting. Thank you for including us. It's been great.
We're happy to have you.
Fantastic. Mr. Dunstan is my colleague with me, and he's going to be doing the presentation, and I hope you all find it very interesting.
Hello, everybody. It's very good to be here. I'd like to thank Brains and Butter for putting on such an amazing event. It's lovely to be amongst so many colleagues from other schools as well. I don't envy the parents having to choose. I think it's fair to say that around 80 to 90% of what all independent boarding schools offer will be the same. I have to say that openly and honestly. We all offer the same, and we all value and care for children. So your job really, despite the fact that you'll hear multiple things the same over and over again, is to find that last 5 to 10% that captures you, that you're looking for. And obviously we hope that we can help you do that with our presentations, and obviously Brains and Butter will help you as well. So I'm the commercial director here. Liz is the marketing and business manager. Between us, we have been at Aldenham for 45 years. Okay, so I've done 25 years, Liz has done. I've been a boarding housemaster here and a teacher before moving into the role that I currently have now. So we know the school inside and out. We're very passionate about Aldenham and what Aldenham has to offer. We like it so much that we've been here that long. So hopefully that will give you some confidence in terms of what we're saying and the value of the school. So I'm going to share my presentation with you, and we'll talk through that, and then obviously I'll be more than happy to take some questions. So hopefully you can tell me when you can see the presentation.
Now we can.
You can. And are you seeing my PowerPoint, or are you seeing something else?
We're seeing your PowerPoint.
You are? Okay, great. Let me just make sure I can project that for you then. Perfect, perfect. Well, as I said, we are at Aldenham School here in the UK, and like you've heard from other schools, we are in beautiful, leafy Hertfordshire, which is just outside of North London. So we also have only a 20-minute hop into central London, but we are in 115 acres of green Hertfordshire space. So the children get the best of both worlds in terms of feeling safe and secure and in the countryside, but also having close access to London and all that London has to offer. We're also very close to Watford, so we have the ability to go there if they want a slightly smaller town experience. But they're very much out in the countryside here and being able to experience the beautiful Hertfordshire countryside. We were established in 1597, so we have been here a very long time. and still on the same site that we originally began. Going to summarize for you very, very briefly the Aldenham model of education. We have three areas that we focus on: the academic, the pastoral, and the co-curricular. And those together lock together to bring about what we see as belonging, very important to us, giving children purpose, giving them autonomy so they have the opportunity to choose and make their own decisions, and making them competent in many areas. And that together locks into driving their motivation and their success. And those then become a spiral. Children who are motivated succeed, and when they've succeeded, they continue to be motivated. So the child is at the center, and that is our model of education. Everything that we do is shaped around those areas, all leading to the child being at the center of what we do. We have vast experience with international students. We are both day and boarding. The majority of the students are day students, although actually 150 of our students will flexi board. So slightly different model that you'll hear from different people. We have full boarders, we have flexi boarders, and we have some day students. But we function as a boarding school. And what that means is we have a long day packed full of everything that you've just heard with the sport, the co-curricular, and the academic on offer. We've got students from all around the world, including Nigeria, quite a lot from West Africa, actually, Nigeria, Ghana. We've got some Tanzanians, we've got all sorts, and we have had for many, many years. When I was running a boarding house, I had a number directly from Nigeria who came in age 13 and stayed with me right the way through until they left and went off to university. Some returning back to Nigeria and some going to British universities. We have international students in terms of people who are overseas boarders who have a nationality from another country, makes up about 8% of our overall student body. But because we are near to North London, we are very, very multicultural. And in fact, we were looking through just before we came on this call, and we've got a number of students who are actually from Nigeria or they're from Ghana, but they have a British passport, even though they perhaps have only ever been to Britain on a visit or to come on board. So it's quite tricky to establish exactly who is from where. And that's one of the beautiful things about Aldenham. It's very multicultural, and this adds to the great mix of everything that's going on. For that reason, we have a strong support system in place for all students, actually, to help everyone settle and integrate, but particularly for our full boarders who are coming over from another country. We want them to feel at home. Pastoral care is something we're known for in the local area. In our area of North London, we are surrounded by very large North London day schools that are known for being very, very pressurized academic schools. We also have good academic results, but we are known instead for our holistic approach and our pastoral care. So the children have dedicated housemaster or housemistress. They also have a personal tutor who they meet with every day, and this becomes their home from home. They are looked after very, very carefully. Some children, of course, English is not their first language. I know that's not usually the case in Nigeria, but we offer additional support in all sorts of ways. And we are a STEER champion school. Now, you may not be aware of that, but STEER education provide a mental well-being, mental health check, which we run as a platform and a program, and all the children take part in this regularly. And it helps us through some fantastic technology and support to pick up concerns early, sometimes even before the children are aware that they are having issues or worries. We are able to pick that up and nip these things in the bud and provide support where it is necessary. We've been running this for a while, and in 2024, we became a STEER champion school because of how well we use the platform and how we work together. We work very hard on our cultural integration. We do have regular different cultural activities that enables everyone to recognize the diversity of our community. That's not just for the boarders, that's for everyone. Yes, done through food, but through other events and activities. People wear their national dress. We do all sorts of things that enable that to happen. We also have a buddy system so that the older students will help the younger students. So if you have somebody arriving at 13, it may be that one of the upper six who is now 17 or 18 will be looking after them and helping them, because they also have been through that process. And it really is a very supportive and tolerant environment. The boarding houses, well, we have 4 senior boarding houses that take children from age 13 to 18. Those are single-sex houses. So pastorally, because boys and girls have different pastoral needs, they are looked after by those people carefully in there, and that's where they live. That's their home. But we also have a junior house, which is for our year 7 and 8 pupils, 11 and 12-year-olds, and that is a mixed house, although they have obviously separate areas within the house. All our houses are modern facilities inside. They've had millions of pounds spent on them, overhauling them and making sure that they're fit for the modern age, although some of them were built actually in the early 19th century. So you get this real sense of tradition passing through the houses, but with modern facilities. And as I mentioned, we also have flexi boarding. So the houses are very, very busy with boarding pupils throughout the week. And a bit like Brentwood have said there, at the weekends, though we don't have Saturday school anymore, we have lots of fixtures and other activities take place. So even though the boarding community for international boarders is smaller at the weekend, they quite like that. They're able, like children who just go home for the weekend, this becomes their home. It's a little bit more sort of reflective, lighter experience for them. We pack it full of other activities. We also take them away a lot. They were due to be in Belfast this weekend. We've actually had to cancel that for safety reasons because of the storm knocking out all the power in Belfast and making it difficult for them. But we do lots of travel around, whether to Oxford, to Cambridge, to Edinburgh. And we also have activities on site as well. And fixtures happen as well. And we are a very, very sporty school. I'll come back to that in a moment. Diversity is very important to us, partly because of our location, but actually because we just think it's really important in the modern global world that people understand each other and that they learn to be tolerant. We have children from many, many countries as boarders, including Nigeria, Germany, Spain, Ghana, China, Ukraine, but also just locally as day pupils. Many have come over on their own visas. They're living as a dependent with their parents, but they come to us as a day pupil or a flexi boarder, but they also are international and are coming into the UK to study, whilst perhaps their parents have got a local job for a short period of time. So we're a hugely mixed and diverse community. And the beautiful thing is that you wouldn't know who was a boarder, who was a day pupil, who was from Britain, who wasn't, in the sense that there's this wonderful cultural melting pot. And the emphasis at Aldenham, because of this sense of belonging, which is core in our model of education, is this idea of respect and inclusion. We have regular talks and events on this. We actually have a thing called I-Week, which focuses on identity, and everybody is able to feed into that and to learn about each other and learn about themselves too. Co-curricular provision, like many of the schools here, is vast at Aldenham. Everything from music, drama, art, many, many clubs. We've got around 80 activities that are on offer every week, plus at the weekends. And the children can find their own kind of niche, find their own areas, doing things they've never done before and discovering a passion, discovering they're very, very good at something. So everything from excellence in music. We have many people who leave us to go on to music conservatoires or become professional musicians. Many people work and leave us either to go and star on television or on the West End stage as professional actors. It's a hugely wonderful co-curricular provision, and a huge section of that for us is our sports provision. We are known for our sport, and I know you've heard it here already, but we genuinely are known for our football. You can look us up. We were one of the first 2 schools ever to write down the codes of football. We don't do rugby because that was a new sport that was invented after football. We are extremely focused on our football. We have success at all levels. And in fact, I just picked here over the last 7-year period, which is one school cycle. If you imagine somebody arriving at 11 and going through to the end of 18, over the last 7-year cycle, we've produced 11 children who have left us to go and play professional Premiership football. So that's more than 1 a year during that time. And we have plenty of people now playing in professional academies and moving on. We are very successful at all levels in the ISFA and the ESFA, and we are known as a powerhouse of football. People come to us specifically for our football program. However, I am very passionate about cricket. We also play netball. We've got fives, a very traditional sport, tennis. we do very well in golf and athletics because we believe in a holistic program. So although football is a huge thing for us, and if people like football, they choose us for that, we also think it's important that people take part in other things and become well-rounded individuals. We do have specialist programs for the elite sports people or elite musicians because they have additional pressures where they have to further this that is quite clearly going to be their career. And how to balance that with their academic program is something that we are very, very careful with, and we monitor those children and support them in every way. Academics, obviously it's a school. We provide our academic programs. We focus on A-levels and GCSEs. Around 80% of our students earn the right to attend Russell Group universities. I'm very carefully put it that way. They don't all choose to go to Russell Group universities because some of them will go instead to a drama college or a drama school. Some will go to a music conservatoire. Some will choose instead to go off to professional sport. And as I said, we have many who do that. So they may well have done well enough in their A-levels to go to a Russell Group university or to Oxbridge, but they choose not to do so. So that's why we put around 80% earn that right. But we value just as much who choose to do things that are not in the academic sphere as those who do in the academic sphere. But we do have this focus. We value hard work, high expectations, definitely we have, and we want people to do well. And I know that certainly Nigerians want their children to focus hard on their academics. We're also a very modern school. So despite being around since 1597, we were one of the earliest kind of schools to move into computing and to teaching computing back in the 1960s. And now we are a Microsoft Showcase school. That's quite a hard thing to win as a title, but Microsoft value us as demonstrating innovative use of technology, and particularly their platforms. And we give guidance and training to other schools in how best to use these platforms. So they're very much prepared for the next stage when they leave us into university and beyond in the world of work. So I've been rattling through this for you because I know you'll have some questions. But as a conclusion for you, why should you choose us? Well, there's a few things I didn't mention. You can see, obviously, we have our rich history. We are originally founded as a Christian school, a Church of England school. We do have that in our background. We have chapel, which the children go to every week. But we also accept children of all faiths and none. We do have a full-time Anglican chaplain here at Church of England chaplain as part of our pastoral care team. So that's part of what we do. I've pick up what some of the others have said. We do not have EXIAT weekends. So if there is an EXIAT, that simply means that there are no sports fixtures, and that gives us the opportunity to take our international boarders on a further afield trip. So they might be able to go up to Edinburgh or something, and we'll fly them up there as part of the fees so that they are able to experience something new. Pastoral care, massively important for us, and the sense of belonging runs through so that everybody here really values Aldenham and wants to come back and share that opportunity with others. So the last thing I'm going to show you is one testimonial. I could have picked many, but I've picked one because we were talking to Jason earlier this week. Jason is from Nigeria, and he said, "Oh, can you let me give a testimonial. I'll tell you what Nigerians want to hear." So you can be the judge of this as to whether this is what Nigerians want to hear. But Jason said, now he, by the way, is studying economics and politics and geography at A-level. But what he values most about Aldenham, he says, is its sport. So he represents us both in football and in basketball. He's very much at home. He enjoys all the opportunities he has to play sport. And this is what he wanted to tell you, that this is what he values about being here. But as I said, I could have picked many people, but we've settled here on Jason because he was so keen to tell you this. So that's Aldenham for you. As I said, I don't envy you the challenge of picking between what ultimately are a bunch of fantastic schools here. But if you are interested in finding out anything more about us, then please do contact Liz. You can reach her on admissions@aldenham.com. She would be the person who would be taking you through the process, working with brains and butter to make sure that you choose the right school. And that for us is vital. We want to make sure that we are right for your children. And if between us we all agree that we're not the right school, then that is also fine. But we want to make sure that your children are successful and happy and confident and well-rounded young people. So I'll hand it now over to you for questions, which we're happy to take. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation. And it's nice to know that he was placed by Brains and Butter. Okay, so we have a question here. And it says, how does the school provide financial assistance to families in terms of bursary?
In terms of bursaries. So for a bursary, we like I'm sure many of the schools here, we do a means tested bursary. So if there is you know, somebody who has financial need but still wants to come to the school, and then we would assess that need just to make sure that we are, you know, that people do actually need that support. And then we would be able to offer some sort of bursary. There is a limited pot available, and we have to be very careful how much and where we apportion that. We try to help as many children as we can. We separate that from a scholarship program, which you'll hear from other colleagues here as well. Scholarship is generally down to exceptional ability in a particular area. But also we do recognize at the moment, particularly, especially with the imposition of VAT on school fees, that things have become more challenging for people. And we are open, if you think Aldenham is the right school for you, then please do contact Liz. We are open to have discussions with families to see whether we are able to work on some kind of discount for you if that would benefit you. Because we want ultimately to have the right children in the school. It benefits us, it benefits you. So we are open to have those sorts of discussions, but obviously they're so individual, those would need to be one-to-one conversations.
Okay, so we have another question. Can you please, a parent says, can you please share some of your leavers destinations for your sixth form students?
Sure. So leavers destinations last year, off the top of my head, the two most popular last year were Liverpool University and Loughborough University. A number went to Loughborough for sport. Loughborough is a curious place because it's not Russell Group, but it is world renowned for its sport. So there's a prime example of children who could have gone to a Russell Group University, but that chose to go to there instead. Quite a number went into the various London universities. So some went to UCL. Around a third of our students go off to study STEM subjects. So they will pick places like UCL and King's. So yeah, a huge variety. But what we do, and we may be different from some others, but this is genuinely what we do. We want the right institution for the child. So there are people here who will have straight A's or straight A stars at A level and could have got to Oxford or Cambridge who didn't even apply, because what they wanted to do instead was to go to BIM, which is a music specialist college in Brighton. So, you know, these are the sorts of things that we do, but we have a huge variety. But last year, definitely Loughborough and Liverpool were the two most popular places that we had. And then I think third after that was one of the London universities. I think might have been UCL actually. That gives you an example.
Thank you for these answers. Okay, so it might interest you to know that Brains and Butter has actually placed 2 children in your school. So I'd like to ask, what would you say, have you noticed anything? Would you say that there's actually anything that makes Nigerian students stand out?
Yeah, I can say that, and especially having been a housemaster with the Nigerian students. The Nigerian students, for me, integrate very well. They like where we are because it's quite multicultural. So they're getting a very traditional British education, but they don't feel like they stand out as the only one who comes from Nigeria or comes from another country. Because even amongst our day pupils, we have a range of people from other cultures as well, who might just be in that North London area or one of the local counties surrounding. So where Aldenham is placed in Hertfordshire, we take children from surrounding Hertfordshire, but also North London, also Berkshire as well. So we have a whole range of students, some very traditional British, some multicultural. So the Nigerian students, they stand out in the sense that they really choose to integrate, whereas some children from other countries do not. They find it much harder to integrate. So that's one thing that I would say that makes them stand out. On the other hand, they don't stand out at all. They slot in very, very easily amongst our mix of students. And also Aldenham is very, very careful with the fact that the day students, the flexi boarders and the boarding students, between 8:30 and 5:30, which is our standard school day, no one would know the difference between any of them. They're all very proud of the house that they're in, whether they're a day student or a boarder. They're all very, very kind of proud of each other. They're very nurturing, very supportive of each other. There's no segregation between, oh, you're a boarder, you're international, you're day. They're all just one happy, cohesive family because of our model of education. That's what works. It all changes at 5:30 when the day pupils go home. You then got about 150 flexi boarders who will stay into the evening. So you just have a vibrant boarding community. And you can't really tell the difference again between whether somebody was overseas international or whether they're a local flexi boarder. It really doesn't matter. Also, people like the Nigerians and others might be going home with a day student. So they integrate in that way as well, because there's that location. People can go home. They can spend the weekend with someone. So a lot of their closest friends might actually well be day students or flexi boarders from the local area. The other thing I'd say about the Nigerians is they value hard work. They like our discipline. We're a very calm, quiet school of hardworking children. They like the fact that there's a mix where some people love their sport, some people love their music, but they're hardworking. I can certainly say that I valued that from the children that were Nigerian when I was running the house.
That's quite interesting. Okay, so we have one more question for you. How does your school specifically support international students in adapting to their academic, cultural, and social environment?
That's a great question. And probably, I'll be honest, very similarly to all my colleagues from other schools. But we have a program where what happens is when they arrive, they have a very careful induction program. So that extra care is placed during the first 2 to 3 weeks to make sure that they are settling in. And this is like anybody whose children have gone, for a sleepover at a friend's for the first ever time. There's lots of checking in and making sure that they're okay because they might be feeling a bit homesick. Well, here you've gone to the next level because you're in a different country. So we enable people to speak and contact back home, but that gradually begins to decrease. But don't worry, parents, we keep you informed as well so that you're able to know that they're still okay. They have, as I said, a housemaster who effectively becomes or is their parent whilst they're here. There's lots of sort of conversations between you and them. Also a guardian, and I know that Brains and Butter also offers that guardianship, so I'd recommend people consider that very, very carefully as well. They have a personal tutor. So in each of our boarding houses, there are 2 resident tutors as well as the housemaster and their family, and it becomes genuinely a home from home. So if they've got a problem, it doesn't matter what it is, the middle of the night, if they're feeling a bit homesick, people would come and bang on the door. And I can tell you that as a housemaster, I would open the door, we would sit down. My wife is very good at this. Sometimes she would sit down, just have a chat with them. How do we make them feel at home exactly as you would expect? So they'll get a birthday cake on their birthday. Everyone will sing happy birthday to them. All these sorts of things are done to make people feel at home. And we're very conscious of those occasions when they might be feeling particularly homesick. So we would then step in advance and make sure that they're feeling supported in those areas.
Amazing presentation there. Thank you so much for your presentation, and thank you for your time as well. Thank you for being here.
Thank you all very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on to the next school to present, and that would be Burgess Hill Girls School. Representing Burgess Hill Girls School, we have Nicola Dunson, and she is the Assistant Head Boarding and Pastoral Care. Oh. Okay. While we're waiting for Burgess Hill Girls School, Let me just check if they're here. Okay, so while we're waiting for Burgess Hill, I'll move on to the next school, and that would be Locust Park. Locust Park School, represented by Mr. Gavin Taylor, the head of school, and Rebecca Chaplin, the head of marketing and admissions.
Good afternoon. We've got Nolene Corrigan as well, who's present.
Oh.
Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. And can you see my screen?
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm glad it's all working. Thank you, and thank you for Brains and Butter for allowing us this opportunity to present. It's lovely to come and share with you about Locust Park. Many of you will not have heard of Locust Park. We are a purposely small prep school based in Hertfordshire, so very close to Oldham. We are 20 minutes from Heathrow, 30 minutes from London Luton. So our links via train, via airplanes are fantastic. It allows boys to join us from around the world and be part of something that is incredibly special. We tailor education to the individual, and that's what makes Locust Park so different and stand out. We are boys only prep school, and we can really focus education on boys and give boys the very best experience, give boys an opportunity to be themselves, gives boys an opportunity to find new things that they are going to love and be passionate about. We focus this on excellent results and enthusiasm for life. It's very easy for me to start with a focus on our pastoral care. And I think what we are, being small with 200 boys, is a family. Your son becomes part of that family. They become part of something special. They have people that are around them that are going to support them through any problems, but are really going to stretch and challenge them. We have done a lot of work with senior schools, we've done a lot of work with universities, and we've gone out to employers to find out what is needed from this next generation, how we're forward thinking with the education that we provide. So not only our boys get tremendous GCSE results when they leave to their senior schools, fantastic A-levels, go on to some of the very best universities, but they have the qualities that are going to make them successful. They are well-rounded, they are resilient, they can work with people across the world, they are creative, they're able to challenge, they're able to challenge the teachers, they're able to challenge the families, they're able to challenge social media for what they're reading, and are able to come up with new ideas and think and be creative and critical thinkers. The boys have an opportunity by joining a prep school and purposely a prep school that has no senior school links. The boys have opportunities to develop leadership at a much earlier age. They're able to be student listeners. They're able to take on council positions. They're able to take on prefects and set positions that are able to guide others. And the boys gain so much from their peers. From the moment they join, they are surrounded by other boys who show them what they're capable of, what they go on to. And what has been so lovely in recent years is having boys back from across the world to share their stories, their time at Locust Park, their time into their senior school, and what they've gone on to achieve. And I think that's really important of being this close-knit family. We have an amazing learner profile that really focuses on the education. And from the well-being work that you can see, there's counsellors, there's all sort of manner of activities and support for everything that any child could ever need. I think it's important that we focus on academics. That's, to me, the most important thing of any school. Locust Park we are a thinking school, and we focus on metacognition and helping the boys, understanding how they think, understanding how other people solve problems, and how they work together with being able to create solutions. We have amazingly strong results and still focus at the end of year 8 on common entrance. It's something that we believe is beneficial to the boys. They have a full set of exams before GCSEs where they get to do a full set of revision practice. They work with their tutors to create revision guides. They're able to go through that process before it becomes something as important as GCSEs and know which subjects they're going to be able to be able to excel in and able to fly when they go to their senior school. We have an amazing e-learning. We've got iPads, they've got computers with laptops, they're able to do coding, they're able to bring all artificial intelligence and a focus on what they're going to need into the future into lessons. We've got computer-aided design, computer-aided manufacturing. We compete in a Lego league where the boys do robotics and build and program a Lego robot that interacts with other pieces of Lego on a map. And they're able to really test these ideas and move forward whilst retaining those still core and strong values of what's in what you would expect from a prep school. One of the greatest things about Lockers is the senior schools that we feed to, and I will mention it further, but we try to make sure that we're preparing boys from a young age, working with the families, working with the agents, preparing them for the senior schools where they're going to go on and flourish, looking at what their talents are, looking at what their interests are, and guiding you and guiding them to schools where these are going to be able to be pushed and they're able to excel. Like all of the schools that have presented so far, we have all of everything that you would expect. There are football pitches, there are squash courts, badminton courts. We have a fitness suite that the boys can use both within lessons. We have an amazing outdoor facilities and a superb forest school. We have our own outdoor swimming pool, tennis courts, hockey, astro, cricket nets. So there is nothing from a sporting perspective that will be missed from your son. They also get an hour of sport, coach sport every day. And that is a fantastic opportunities to develop skills. It has meant that we've got boys going on for national representation in lots of different sports. We've had boys that have gone on to do sports scholarships within their senior school. And in recent years, we've had sports scholars to Aldenham, Harrow, Rugby, Arundel, just to mention a few of the schools that we then feed onto. Alongside this, there is so much beyond sports. There are chances to be in debating, chess. We came third in national chess. Our ski team is the national ski champions. We've got boys who've qualified from badminton and table tennis going on to national representation. It is about making sure these boys have the opportunity to perform and be in front of others. We have a tremendous music program. We've got a number of boys with grade 8s in their music lessons and able to deliver at a very high standard. And we're able to put them into concerts and opportunities for them to play where they can get those be presented in front of others and gain confidence in being able to be on show. Our after school activities, our school day is long. Although we are a day in a boarding school, we very much focus our life on boarding, and our school day runs from 8:30 in the morning until 6 o'clock in the evening. And then following that and following supper, there is a tremendous after school program. Your son is not going to get bored. They're going to have opportunities and find things that are going to be able to take on board and drive forward, and hopefully find things they're going to be passionate about and be involved in for the rest of their lives. Within our indoor golf studio, we have the local golf professional come in. We've got fencing professionals coming in, and we've done well in the Hertfordshire and had boys go on to national fencing. We have our own climbing wall, so we have climbing being able to be delivered. Alongside that, they create a newspaper club. We've got a cookery club. We try to make sure the boys have the life skills that are going to be really beneficial for them, not beyond education, but seeing them through into university and beyond. We even run our own Beavers, Cubs and Scouts pack. It's about those opportunities to be outside, to be involved in working with the community and able to change both locally and further afield in what they do with charity work and being part of what is so special. We talk about enthusiasm for life at the school, and that is these abundant opportunities. We go to the Goodwood Festival of Speed and the boys race an electric car. There is something there for everybody, and it's about finding what that is, and that builds upon the strong education that we provide. I am so lucky as head to have an amazing team around me. I've got people who are incredibly passionate about their area of the school, and what that passion builds is that passion then transfers across to the boys, and they want to engage in it and they want to please. I think what separates us from many other schools is we are Hertfordshire's premier all-boys school. We are very proud of what we do. We have 150 years of experience of teaching boys and understand the differences, being able to create a culture where a boy can open and have honest conversations with every member of staff, being able to ask them about personal questions that matter and important to them, and feel open that they're going to get an honest response. The school is all about respect and honesty, and that goes from the boys to the staff, but much more importantly, from the staff to the boys. It's about making sure that we are transparent with the education that we provide to you, and you see what you're able to be involved in. We have great success with boys from all around the world, especially from Nigeria, and that's one of the things that we will be able to share with you a little bit further on our next presentation. It's about showing you what we're able to do and able to give you an opportunity to ask the questions about Locker's Park. One of the things that I would say that all schools will say they have amazing pastoral care, they offer amazing academic. But what you see from the moment you walk through the door is that everything that we say on our website is absolutely true. These boys are happy, these boys are engaged, these boys are challenging, these boys go on to some of the very best schools. We are really proud of that boys only model. We are confident in what we do. We're able to make sure that lessons are able to take things apart from an early age and ask those questions. We're able to create a bespoke curriculum in place. We're able to develop leadership. We're able to develop the skills that are going to make them successful. We've got a strong coaching philosophy across the school with trained coaching across the staff that the boys are able to benefit from. The boys are asked those questions, that they're looking at their own education and what they can do to improve. It allows us to have an amazing school. It allows us to have amazing students, and they go on to do such impressive things. I only have to look at the destination schools and you will see the number of top schools. Every year we have boys going off to Eton for the King's Scholarship. We've got boys going to Harrow on scholarship, Rugby on scholarship, St Albans on scholarship, some of the very best schools across the country that we feed to. And that is because we can provide a tailored and an individualised education. We keep our classes small, and it means that the boys can get the one-to-one addition, the one-to-one attention that they need. They can be driven forward. They can focus their studies on the school that they need to go to and making sure that they are fully prepared for the exams that they will sit. It's very trying to get so much in such a short period of time and allow an opportunity for questions. The one thing I would say, if you get a moment, is do look on the website. Do have a look in detail at everything that I've mentioned. And if you get the opportunity, it is lovely to see you come through our door. Everybody is welcome. We do make sure that we provide an education that is fit for the future, whilst embracing some of those traditions that have been so important in the past 150 years in making Lockers Park such a success. I don't know if there is any questions that anybody would like to. Oh.
Okay, yes, we have a question here.
Please.
Oh, I think I lost the question. Okay, all right, it's here, it's back here. So what percentage of boys board, and from what age can they board?
So boys can board from year 3. And no pressure is put on them. It's really lovely that the boys work with their friends to find out when their friends are staying, come and stay together, and they enjoy that boarding opportunity. Through our top years, we find a lot of our boys do board and take on a boarding experience. 70% of our boys will leave and go on to boarding senior schools. When you looked at the schools that we sort of show as our destination schools, many of them are the top boarding public schools across the country. What we do is we provide the boys with an opportunity to learn that independence and those successes that are going to make sure that when they do go to those schools, they can go there with the confidence that they're going to succeed.
Okay, so for a parent who is trying to choose between sending his son to a co-ed school or a boys' school, what would you say the advantage of sending a child to a boys' school is over sending the child to a co-ed school?
I think there's so many advantages to single sector education. I think the sector has changed not because of education and what is best for the children. I think it's changed for financial purposes. When we look at providing with boys, giving those boys an opportunity, they are able to be involved with everything without gender stereotyping. We can have a boy walk straight off the first 15 or first 11 football field, put on their cassocks and go into chapel choir, and They're able to do everything with that openness, that honestness, without there being any idea that there's any gender roles within the school. They love cooking as much as they love Latin and classics. It's what's so lovely about being in an all-boys environment. And one of the greatest things I think for us is that we can make sure it's an education without fear of humiliation or without fear of or worry about what their peers are going to think of them, so that they can ask open and honest questions. They can ask questions of the staff. They can ask questions of each other. We can have those open debates with the boys. We can get the right visitors in that are going to tailor their talks to the boys that are going to be able to set them for the future. So I do believe there's huge advantages to single-sex education. We see this through evidence of better results. We see this through evidence of a better relationship with staff, with more confidence. And what is so lovely that boys from Lockers Park go on to both co-ed and single-sex schools with great success. It doesn't seem to have an effect of what comes next, but having the right foundations in. It's a bit like building a house. We feel if we can get the foundations there, you can build anything on top of those foundations. And for us, it's about putting strong foundations in for these young men, for whatever they're going to go on to, that they can always rely upon the knowledge that they have from an early age.
Okay, would you say your school has the facility to help children who learn differently?
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things when we talk about having tailored education towards the individual. We actually have learning science lessons where the boys are able to look at their own learning style. We're able to break down how they learn as an individual, so that when it comes to revision for exams, when it comes for how they're going to engage in lessons in the future, they're going to know how they're going to be successful. I think so many schools try to make sure everybody is the same. What we try to do is we try to embrace the individual so that they know what's going to be right for them, and that they can then go on when they're studying for GCSEs with a good understanding of how they revise to retain the best information, whether it's going to be best they're going to be suited to A-level or IB because of the way that they work, being able to guide them forward and know which subjects they're going to be successful in. It's by breaking down that time and spending time with the individual. Small class sizes make such a big difference. We're an average class size of 13 with teachers and teaching assistants, that you can spend time with the boys, really understanding them. From my perspective, it's so lovely. I walk around this school and I know every single one, not just by name. I know their families, I know their interests. I'm able to guide them and really offer support. And it's so lovely that these boys want to come back. We've got 3 gap students this year who are all old boys. We've got a trainee teacher who's an old boy of the school that wants to go into the profession, and we're able to support, and they want to come back to us as a school. And I think that says something special. It's this family feel that supports these boys and cares for these boys in a way that a bigger school just possibly couldn't.
Okay, that's interesting. That's quite interesting. Okay, then I'd love you to speak a little more on the pastoral care. You know, some, especially for Nigerian children, some of them don't live here. Live in the UK, as the case is. And some of them would want a situation where the school is able to pick their children up from the airport and, you know, all of that. Do you have all these programs in place? And to what extent do you give pastoral care to your children?
Absolutely. I think this is one of the things that we are most proud of. Nolene, who leads this as the deputy head within the school, will certainly be able to add, but we are able to pick the boys directly up from the airport and bring them to the school. They sit within a family, within the house, with 60 beds or 70 beds within the school, that they're able to be very much supported. They will be given somebody from the moment they join the school that they can go to, whilst they are finding their own friends and that they understand the school systems. We have an amazing student listener program where we try to bring boys from all different cultures and backgrounds to become those leaders and share their experiences with others. The boarding house itself is such a friendly house. It very much is the boys' home and run in that way. And I think that makes it important that from the moment the boys arrive here, they feel comfortable, they feel cared for. And if they have that feeling from the moment they arrive, they're able to engage in education in such a strong way that we can able to get the best results from them. The one thing I would say about all the boys at the school is you only have to spend a few seconds with them to realise how happy they are. And that, to me, that breaks so many different things. It makes them more willing to get involved with new activities. It makes them more willing to make new friends. The one thing I would say about the Nigerian boys we have at school, they've made tremendous relationships with local boys. It's really interesting that they go out to they're always invited out to other boys' houses at weekends. We do have Saturday school. We do have academic lessons on a Saturday morning. We do feel it's important, and we really make sure that the academic offering of the school is absolutely strong as it possibly can be. But what we do have is fantastic senior school visits on Saturday afternoons, trips to castles and historical venues, where we're getting local boys being dropped off to school on a Sunday and coming in on a Saturday because of the programme that we put in place. So I think what we do have is, the pastoral care has to be, especially in a prep school, one of the greatest strengths. And we have a team around us with our pastoral leadership team that are constantly taking pupil voice and listening. Every boy does a well-being survey during the week that they're able to ask for support in a confidential and quiet way. Plus, we have, open forums where they can come and speak to anybody. A lot of what the school does is led by pupil voice.
That's quite refreshing. Okay, we have Dr. Alo here. Dr. Alo, would you like to engage Lockers? Sorry, I'm trying to get the Lockers Park.
Lockers Park.
Yes, definitely. I was just smiling because I'm a mom of 3 boys. So I know what it's like to have just boys. It is so special. So there's just something very delightsome and delightful about having boys, the energy that they bring. And I'm really pleased we have you at the fair because not many parents know of all boys prep schools. You'll be amazed how many parents are asking me questions. Oh, wow. So there are prep schools that are just for boys. So I think it's really special and we're really happy to have you at the fair. So our parents really know that you exist and know what's so special about your school. The size as well is such a plus. And again, like you said, the pastoral care element is one of the strengths of a prep school. And it's great that you have some amazing schools that you feed into from Lockers Park. So if you could please speak to our parents and explain to them what they can expect in terms of the parental engagement and how parents are really kept a part of the community, because one of the things our parents often worry about is they're losing their boys, they're off to boarding school, and they feel a bit disconnected and worried about just that loss of time with them. So are there any things that Lockers Park have in place that really carry the parents along? Is it pictures, newsletters? How are parents really kept a part of the community?
Absolutely. I think it's a really important question. We very much focus on that golden triangle. The boy sits at the top of that triangle with the school and the family there as its support, and we have to work together for the best interest of each boy. We try to make sure that we keep families up to date, and there's always the means through social media. If you get any opportunity to go and have a look, we try to make sure that we're getting all the boys' photographs. We try to make sure that we share a general feel of the school through this method. And it's not really about the outward facing. It's much more for our own parents to see and what their sons are involved in. Alongside that, we have weekly newsletter, we have boarding newsletters. We try to make sure that we encourage the boys to be constantly involved and contacting their parents. It is really important. For me personally, I'm inviting the parents in for conversations. I'm talking to them about senior schools. We're recognising the talents of the individual boy and then speaking to the parents about what's important for them with the senior school pick so that we can promote the right schools, we can find the right schools, and then we can help the parents in making those really important decisions that are going to be for that boy's future care. We have to work together when we come to this point because we know so much about the boys, but the family know also so much about them that we are guiding them in the right direction. The school is very open, both for day and boarding students. You will always get a response within 24 hours. There's a member of staff on the door as people are dropped off and picked up, so that there's always somebody that you can speak to. And I think that's what we like to be. We like to be open and we like to be transparent. We share video as much as we can of sports footage. We use reward system that the parents can sign into, so they can constantly see the rewards that the boys are getting. so that they can always be part of that education. I'm a father myself, so I know how important it is, and how, you know, that fear of sending a child away, but actually that child is only going to be getting and gaining independence, gaining opportunity, and able to bring things home that have put them, as, you know, above and anybody. And I think there's so much to be gained from that boarding environment.
Absolutely. And speaking of social media, there's a lovely lady who handles your social media pages. She's doing such a fantastic job. So honestly, our parents should please follow your page. It's so active. Oh, is it Rebecca?
It is Rebecca, yes. That's why she taking full credit for it.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's just trying to give you a flavour of what goes on in a small prep school.
Yes.
It's so hard because there is, on a daily basis, there is something happening, and something for the boys to be involved in. And I think if you get an opportunity to have a look at the social media pages, it gives you a flavour of what Lockers Park is really about.
It definitely does. And the fact that Rebecca has a human face with the page, because sometimes people handle a social media page and it's just, oh, we're just putting up pictures, but there's actually a human connection with the page, and I think that's really special. And just speaking about social media, I'll ask my last question, which is about innovation and tradition, because you know prep schools are traditional schools in many ways, and you know the world is changing really fast, but at the same time you want to preserve childhood and keep the children younger for longer. So how has Lockers Park been able to manage that, shall I say, the two worlds really, of you know preserving childhood, but at the same time I like that you talked about the Lego League and the, you know, the different activities the boys are getting involved in in regards to AI. So how are you managing that tradition and innovation landscape?
It's a really good question. I think if we focus on the traditional element, there's so much that traditionally is still so valuable. Teaching the boys about respect and kindness, some of those values never change. We still have chapel service every morning, which is all led by the boys, talking about people from history and different cultures and religions, and sharing those experiences to educate them. When it comes to technology, it's about a case of going through education. We don't allow the boys to have their phones or have devices within the school. Actually, they're locked within their own personal safety boxes upstairs, so that they're able to be locked away and phoned and used at the right times, but they're not become reliant upon them. Our boys still go out and play in the woods and build camps, and still have that traditional childhood of climbing trees and making up games and all of what you think is important, because we see that as important. Our forest school is absolutely there to make sure that they have those opportunities. But we're teaching them and guiding them about AI. We're challenging them so that they understand what algorithms are and how this works, and using external companies to come in and speak to the boys and share with them about how dangerous they can believe of what they read. I think one of our biggest focuses is how we teach the boys they must challenge everything they hear. And that comes as a cultural shock, because they're not used to challenging their teachers, and they're not used to challenging things what they read. But it's so important to them now, especially if they're getting their news from social media, that they're looking at multiple sources, they're bringing that information in, and then they're coming up with their own findings. And that's what we're allowing them to do. It's about giving them the education. It's about focusing them, that guiding them to go through these steps with everything that they do and everything that they learn, so that they are making the right decisions, and that they can justify any decision that they make. It's so lovely that the boys are encouraged to go away and do independent research and come in and have those open conversations about something you've just taught them. And it's something that we are really trying to push with the boys. And you know, it is a hard for them. I feel it's so difficult for them in this modern world of embracing AI, embracing technology, and still being able to be young and enjoy a childhood, which was so important to us all. But I think what we have is the balance of making sure technology is there when it's needed. It is used within the classroom, but they are not reliant upon it.
Thank you.
No, thank you. It's lovely, and it's really lovely for us to be here with Brains and Butter and be able to support and share everything that we do.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for the presentation. It's been a beautiful day so far, and we have seen. Just before I go on, please, Dr. Alo, Burgess Hill is on the attendee list. Please, can she be upgraded to panelists so she can make her presentation? Okay, so it's been a beautiful day. We've seen 5 schools so far, and we have 1 more school to go. And like I've said, if after seeing all of these schools over the last 3 days, we have seen way more than 10 schools. If after seeing all of these schools, because all of the schools are amazing, trust me, they have something special. Every one of them have one thing or the other, one special thing or the other to offer. So if you still do not know, you're confused, you're at crossroads, you don't know you don't know which school to choose for your child, that is where Brains and Butter comes in. So just reach out to Brains and Butter. I'm sure the contact would be in the chat. You can always contact Brains and Butter. You can book appointments to speak to anyone at Brains and Butter, and they'll be available to help you through your choice making, and they would help you through making your choice to picking the right school for your child, because it is very important that you're able to pick the right school for your child. So moving on, we're going to see the last school for today, and that is Burgess Hill Girls School. Burgess Hill Girls School is represented by Nicola.
Sorry, Da Silva, a parent has her hand raised.
Oh, okay. All right, so just before I go to the next school, can I quickly take that parent's question? Pardon me, Nikki. Can we have the parents live now?
I think we had Sholakwe and Babalola.
Okay.
Hi, this is Bola. Sorry, don't mind that. That was just a mistake.
Oh, okay. All right, can we have Sholakwe ask a question? Sholakwe, you can ask a question now. Okay, while we're waiting for that, can we just move on to the next school then? And then maybe we'll take the question afterwards. Okay, so Nikki Dunson, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be able for you to join us here at Burgess Hill Girls this morning. So I have 2 students with me as well. So I have Malika, who will be giving you a bit of a taster of sixth form life and how she was supported on her arrival at the school. And I also have Mira. Mira's been with us since year 7. She's now in year 10, and she will be giving you a little flavour of boarding life. So welcome to Burgess Hill Girls. So I thought it would be really sort of advantageous at the minute to make sure that you understand where we are in terms of location and how really easy it is in order to get to us. So we are 40 minutes from London, Victoria, and about 50 minutes from King's Cross. We're 20 minutes from Gatwick Airport and about an hour from Heathrow. So we have a real advantage here of being able to be, just 10 minutes from the coast, which is really fantastic to take advantage of that. And also just about 40 minutes away from London, Victoria. So in terms of obviously rail and also car, it's just a great location for us to be in here in the southeast of England. So in terms of who we are a girls' school. We absolutely champion girls' education. We are really wanting to make sure that we do produce women of tomorrow who are prepared to go into careers, particularly around things like leadership, those STEM careers, all of those things which we absolutely champion. We do have a nursery right through to our sixth form here. But particularly our boarding age range is from 11 to 18, and they are year 7 right through to the sixth form. We have a small boarding contingency here, which again is a real advantage in terms of that individualized care that students have when they're with us. So you're looking at approximately 56 students of about the 470 of the senior school who do board, and they come from a range of different countries. We've got Mira, who is from Hong Kong here, and we've got Malika, who is from Uzbekistan. We are academically selective, but equally for us, we really want to make sure that we understand who your child is and really celebrate the individual. So it might be that she has a certain flair for something and it's not all about the academics. So while they are important, they're not the main thing that we look for when we are recruiting students. Really highly creative school. I'll tell you a little bit about the results a bit later on, but I think it's probably worth saying that for the past 4 years, particularly at A-level, our fine artists have got A-star A, and that has been a consistent figure for us, 100% A-star A across the last 4 years, particularly in art. We do textiles here as well, and obviously a huge range of drama and sport in the mix too. As I mentioned, the fantastic location is advantageous for us. And of course, we all say that exceptional pastoral care, but for us, the relationships that students have with each other, the relationships that students have with their teachers, and that sense of community really is in the heart of what we do here at Burgess Hill Girls. We have an outstanding higher education provision and really tailored careers support. So this year we had students go off to do apprenticeships, and we also had obviously Oxbridge candidates, and we also had students who were obviously maybe just taking a gap year out before they go on to those top universities. So again, it's about that individualized, personalized, knowing those students who we've got in front of us and being able to support them along the way. We are a provider of first-rate education. We really champion the girls' education, that single-sex environment, you know, how girls can thrive, really produce their confidence. Really great to see that kind of self-development that happens during the time that they're with us. And of course, we're always thinking about, you know, what you get as parents. And for us, it's making sure that you really do get that great value for money. So in terms of those students that we have with us, so girls are encouraged to aim high, both academically and personally. And again, for us, like I said, it's not just about attaining those top academic results, but we've had top figure skaters, top gymnasts, top skiers. So it's really been that, that one thing that they really love and that they really want to still do while they're with us, being able to sort of facilitate those personal goals at the same time. A real reputation for leadership and innovation, particularly in our sixth form. We have the BOLD program, which is about making sure students take as much opportunity as they can to really make themselves stand out in terms of their UCAS applications. So I'll talk a little bit about the BOLD program slightly later on. Again, it's really for us that balance, and I think that's a really important word. I think students sometimes can get so involved in their academic work that it perhaps always doesn't do them the best, and therefore for us it's about balance. So making sure that they have opportunity to get out of the school, go and do something different. So for example, we've got students in year 9, 10, 11 and the sixth form who've been doing some volunteering at, for example, local care homes. So what else is it that they can sort of outreach into our community to really, advance both those personal skills and also, again, making sure that, they're really equipped for life. Making sure that girls are able to succeed in an increasingly global environment and preparing them for, jobs that perhaps don't exist yet. So for example, we've just had our lower six networking dinner where we linked our sixth form students up with somebody in that particular industry or actually in the job that they want to do, to make sure that they get the work experience and careers advice from the expert in that field. Really look to develop partnerships with businesses locally. We're really lucky here. We have the likes of CEA and Edwards, which are, really local to Burgess Hill. And we also have a link with American Express. And all of these companies do come into school and they do give girls a flavour of what is happening out there in the working world. And again, I mentioned that community outreach. So that's really something that I think that giving back is an important aspect for us. So for example, we have a specific club which was set up by our sixth formers, and we have one of our leadership opportunities is an outreach leadership opportunity to make sure that the school is contributing to that wider community around Burgess Hill. So in terms of A-level results, it's really worth mentioning 91% A star to B grades achieved, 61% of A star to A. 50% of those who took maths scored A star. And as I mentioned previously, that 100% taking art scored A star to A. And that has been consistent over the past 4 years now, which, is really credible to those students. The EPQ is the extended project qualification. The students do it as part of the BOLD program in their lower six, and you actually get the results around January time in your upper six, and it can go towards your UCAS offers. And again, 100% A star A in the EPQ, which I think is something just a little bit different, and it gives students a little bit of an edge. It's a fantastic opportunity, and the students really succeed within that. In terms of our GCSE results, 46% grades 9 to 8, and 60% of all our entries last summer were graded 9 to 7. Again, I mentioned the strengths in the creative arts, 100% 7 to 9 in arts and music, and 65% in those STEM subjects. And we were ranked as the top girls' school in West Sussex 2023, which was fantastic. We are obviously 5-star rated in terms of that consistent performance for GCSE and A-level. And so, yeah, those academic results for us, are absolute credit to the students who we have with us, and those aspirations that they really want to achieve, and those high expectations that those students set themselves. In terms of university destinations, so 93% of girls went on to university last year. Those who didn't went on to successful apprenticeship placements. And we had 2, I think, who took a gap year to get some work experience before they went. One particularly went into medicine, and she wanted to get some work experience around that before she actually went into that. 54% took up those places at Russell Group universities. And over 90% of those students secured their place at a first choice institution on results day. And what a fantastic day results day is for us in terms of being able to celebrate with those students. And, I mentioned that individuality and that personalization and really knowing those students that we have in front of us. Girls applied for 96 distinct university courses from over 50 universities, both in the UK and overseas. And those courses range from things like game art to obviously medicine and dentistry, and also, biochemical sciences, for example. So there's such a vast range, and it really depends on what those students want to do and finding the right university course for that student. In terms of the extracurricular program, we are more than just the academics, so huge range of sports and always something a little bit different. So the girls really excel here in volleyball, and we have, you know, we are situated 10 minutes from Brighton that has a sand volleyball court area, which is fantastic opportunity to play tournaments with other local schools in the area. So volleyball is something a little bit different. Students really enjoy the likes of badminton here too. And we do have a ski racing team, which adds just a different element. We have a local ski centre very close to us, where the girls go and train every week. Drama, we are just gearing up for this year's play. Last year's musical was absolutely fantastic. It was like, it's Les Miserables, and it's just like one of the West End performances. There's usually a lower school and an upper school production each time. And it's not just about those students who are performing on the stage. It's about things like costumes, set, you know, props, backstage crew. You know, how can we make sure that all students, no matter whether they're performers or not, can really get involved with those things? And I go back to that community element. The arts, you know, music, we have a full music program here in terms of making sure that students can really develop their confidence. So maybe when they're in year 7 and 8, they want to perform on a lunchtime concert rather than the big stage, and really trying to build that performance profile for them. And again, a huge range of opportunity to be able to take part within that music department. Textiles, again, something a little bit different. We've just completely had a redevelopment of our textiles and arts area, which has been a real asset, I think. And the girls have got a much more defined area in which to be able to do those textiles, you know, get their creative juices flowing, let's say. Astronomy is hugely popular here. Our physics department, hugely passionate, and we have been taking advantage to go to a local observatory and kind of do some evening trips to be able to, go forth with our astronomy. Public speaking and debating, again, really developing those aspects of tomorrow's women, and making sure that, you know, girls are able to speak out and speak passionately about things that, you know, they're interested in. So we're very lucky to have a local debating league, and yeah, our girls really thrive doing that. Our engineering education scheme, I mentioned the links with local businesses, which again, a real advantage here. And students love taking part in the maths and science Olympiads. We had the Royal Chemistry Society here on site just Wednesday this week, with a huge range of about 40 other students joining us from local schools to take part in the top of the bench competition. In terms of boarding life, this is where I think it's probably a good point to hand over to Mira, and she will tell you a little bit about what it's like to be living here at Burgess Hill Girls.
Hi everyone, I'm Mira, and for me, life as a board in this boarding house is a really wonderful, really awesome experience. And for me, like on a typical day, on a typical school day, I get up, get changed, and then we have breakfast. We have different meals every day, and then we go to school. Then after school, we have dinners, and then they're also like they can get picked by students as well. So then we can tell the boarding staff what we'd like to eat, and then they would obviously tell the kitchen, our office. And then after that, we occasionally have some evening activities. They're always very fun. If your child is like a very outgoing person, they get the activities to really getting to know each other in the boarding house. And if your child is more like introverted, we've got crafting, we've got baking with the other boarding stuff, so they're all very fun. And for example, at the weekends, we always have trips going out. for example, going to watch a film, TV shows, and anything like that. I've got ice skating or shopping or just like touring around the city. So all very fun. And for me, like I would say the most important thing that the boarding house had taught us is the independence that we get from it. And yeah, I'm very grateful.
How do the boarding staff support you, Mira?
I would say because I came here from in year 7, I was a bit shy in the beginning, but then the boarding staff would really encourage me. They would tell me, they would like kind of teach me how to do things and how to talk to other people. And then I would just open up, and then this is who I am now.
Very good. Thank you very much. So it's great for you to hear it from somebody really who experiences our boarding life, you know, firsthand. And we have 2 boarding houses on site. So one is slightly bigger than the other. One has about 37 students and the other one has 17. And obviously it's that 24-hour pastoral care. And because we are smaller boarding, it does mean that it really is a home from home. And it's just a fantastic environment for those students to be in. In terms of supporting students, and I think this is, again, really key. So it's that knowing our students who we've got in front of us. We cap our class sizes at 20, particularly in year 7, 8, and 9. So as we can make sure that we don't have too big form groups, and every week the students have a check-in with their form tutor, just to make sure that they're okay. Is there anything that's worrying them? And that really is something that I think is a great strength. And it all contributes towards that fostering that sense of community. And I think when people visit the school, they tend to talk about that warmth of the school. And it really is, for me, that community element. I talked about the small form groups already, but there's a lot of opportunity for inter-year group socialization through different house activities. So we have a vertical house system, as I'm sure many schools do. But for us, it's fostering, you know, things like poetry competitions, inter-house general knowledge quizzes, and they do rounds throughout the term, and then there'll be a big final at the end of the term. It's all of those things which contribute to not just knowing those students in your year group and developing that year group community, but much wider than that. And our sixth form students are absolutely fantastic leaders in being able to sort of, you know, bring younger year groups with them. For me, that integration between day and boarding is something which is really important. So making sure that those boarding students do feel welcome when they sort of leave the boarding houses and come up to the day school with the other day students is a really important element. And again, that allocation of one-to-one sessions with their form tutors. We have a full-time nurse on site. And I think it's those elements that make sure that students really do feel like they absolutely know who they can go to at these points. I'm going to pass over to Malika now. So Malika joined us in September, and you joined us from Uzbekistan. Yeah. And, you know, do tell the parents a little bit about how we supported you, I suppose, both from when you arrived and also some support that you've had throughout the sixth form too.
So coming here and being a new student, the staff was really, really supportive to help me settle in. The first week was full of activities that we did. We had trip to Brighton, London, go-karting, and so many more. So it was really useful when we started school as new students. And we, in the sixth form, I did not know about the UK's education system, and I didn't know what field I want to go. So school was really supportive in terms of they allowed me to choose different A levels before I made my final choice. And then we have so many outside activities and so many clubs, such as I'm part of the Make a Difference Club, where we do different sales and raise money for charities. We had recently a networking dinner where I was able to speak to different experts of different fields. Also, with my business A level, we're currently launching our business enterprise challenge. And they helped me a lot to grow in confidence and improve my leadership skills as I'm part of organizing tomorrow's Women Conference.
Yeah.
So,
okay, thank you, Malika. So in terms of just a few more key things for us, we don't have EXIAT weekends. We really recognise that that was a real additional cost to our parents. So throughout the school term, there are a few optional weekends out, but students and parents can choose for their students to stay in our boarding houses over the weekends. In terms of that contact for you with parents, we do try and make sure that we have increased our contact and those touch points, and that personal contact with you as parents for us is again really important. So at the beginning of each year, you would get a personal phone call from the form tutor, so as you absolutely knew who it was from the outset. And when the students arrive, they also have an interview with the boarding house staff, so as we can work out what they like, what they don't like, what they're worried about, and we can circulate that to our members of staff, so as they absolutely know that student who they have in front of them. In terms of well-being, it's something that I'm really passionate about, making sure that those students do feel supported. And we've tried lots of different well-being aspects and activities in the boarding house, again, to make sure that those students do feel supported. We do run a boarding induction week, so that happens around about 5 days before the term starts. It comes at not an additional cost to parents, but 5 days before, as Malika said, there's lots of different activities, lots of different things in order for students to get involved in, so as they feel settled in the boarding houses before they then start school, because I think that sense of home from home and making sure that students, you know, have got over their jet lag and do feel settled in boarding is really important. Okay, so I'm more than happy to take some questions if that would be helpful at this point.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So parents, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask your questions. You can ask live. If you want to ask live, just show by a raise of hand, or you can drop it in the Q&A. Okay, I think we have one question. How does the school assess applicants to determine their suitability?
Yeah, so we would do an English and a maths paper, and then students also do a CAT 4 assessment as well. And there's usually an online interview with myself to get to know the student a little bit and to understand that, you know, how much they are kind of going to get involved with our school, and what they like and what they don't like, and any worries or questions that they have at that point.
Okay. So in the absence of any more question, I'd like to say thank you for your presentation, and then jump right into a panel session that I would love for you to be part of as well. And every other school that is still on the call, I would love for you to be part of this panel session. So if you presented earlier and you're still on the call, please just turn on your video so that we can take the panel session right about now. And the topic we're going to be looking at is, okay, do we have Dr. Alo on the call as well? I'd love you to be part of the panel as well.
Definitely, I'm here.
Good, good. Okay, so we would want to look at, you know, the world is evolving rapidly, and the future of work has actually changed, you know, that the future of work is completely different. How can parents prepare their children for this evolving world and the future of work? And how do these schools, how do you as a school prepare children for this change? So let me start with, Nikki. Okay, Mr. Paul is raising his hand. Okay, all right, so I'll start with you.
Hi, thank you. So really interesting question. We were thinking about this only this week. It's something we concentrate on quite a lot. But the people who have joined the school down in the nursery this year will be leaving in sort of 2040, which seems staggering to consider that sort of age difference, you know, and when think about those sorts of times. So I think we need to recognize that the world that the children will be leaving into will be a world that none of us are able to recognize right now. So it's the job of all schools and all educators, not just to prepare people for what they're in now, but to prepare them for a world that we can only imagine. And that is something certainly that Aldenham does. I know colleagues in other schools will be doing similar, I'm sure. So what do we do? Well, we, for example, have appointed somebody to be in charge of AI and to think about how not only can we use this in our own education, but how can we prepare the children so that they don't fall into traps, so that they don't get swept along into something they don't understand how to use. So we can see where the future is going, and we can only then predict and begin to guess. But it's about training children to be resilient, to think, to understand, and not fall into just believing everything that they're told. I think Gavin mentioned it earlier from Lockers Park, the idea that if people are learning their news from social media, they need to learn how to be able to carefully choose and select what is valuable and what is invaluable information. So these are the skill sets that we need to provide. That's why we believe in a holistic education, the idea that it's not just about the academic, it's about everything else, the personal skills, the soft skills. And this means that you should have the ability to adapt to whichever future world you find yourself in. And that's something that we would certainly be wanting to do.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll move on to Rebecca. So what would you, you cannot take the fact that maths plays a major role in this topic. And a lot of children struggle with mathematics. So what do you do, or what is your school doing to help children scale that hurdle of their fear for maths, and what do you do differently as it regards that subject?
Hello, thank you for your question. I know that Mrs. Corrigan is still in the meeting, so I would invite her to comment on this in greater depth, because my role no longer is in the classroom, although I am aware that on Saturdays, Mr. Taylor is one of the teachers who leads maths. That's his subject, and it provides opportunity for the boys to answer more challenging questions and solve problems, rather than it be in the regular format of teaching from Monday to Friday. So there's a focus on skills and problem solving on a Saturday. And yeah, they make the most of Saturday school. I know some schools have sort of abolished that and felt under pressure from parents, but it's very popular in Lockers Park. I think it's something like a 75% take up. So some schools divert to more the sports-based subjects on a Saturday and outside of the classroom, but we see it as an opportunity for boys to improve things that perhaps, I wouldn't say that they're weak in, but specific things that they want to work on and develop further.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thank you. Sorry, so I'm Nolene Corrigan from Lockers Park, and I'm just going to extend on something that Paul actually led in with there. And it's really important that they have these opportunities and the confidence and the creativity to actually take them. And I think that's something that we work on in Lockers Park, is not just focusing. It's interesting that you raised the fear of maths. It's something that's so common, but is developing the confidence to take the opportunities is the most important thing. And for that reason, we teach the boys metacognition, so they learn how their brains work, so that when they meet something that is a challenge, they know how to take those steps back and learn techniques in order to overcome a challenge, whether it be maths or English or standing up on stage in front of a huge crowd. And I think that's really important, that they learn the skills to be resilient in those instances. And maths is probably the most common one for that. And we can go through all the many different techniques that our specialist maths teachers teach with the boys. But I think the most important thing is actually those foundations that Gavin discussed earlier, which is, how does my brain work? How do I approach all these different subjects? What is a challenge, and why is it important to me that I do struggle in some things and overcome those struggles? And then we can go on and we have the confidence to take on the incredible things that are out there in the world.
Amazing. Okay, so Dr. Alo, I'll come to you as a parent. Oh no, first of all, as a lead consultant for Brains and Butter, how much do you put the evolving world and the future of work into consideration when you help parents pick a school for their children?
So honestly, I'm really enjoying the responses we've been getting so far, because fundamentally it's about the child, it's about the person, it's about the being, it's about the foundations that have been given to that child. It's about key life skills, whether it is traditional or the future. Life skills are life skills. So really developing that child is so important, and ensuring the child is placed in an environment that would really nurture the child and develop those skills, which is where I would always promote a boarding education. I know many parents have different thoughts about it, and for the most part, perhaps it's a bonding issue, and they don't want to, they feel like if they send their children off to boarding school, they are losing a bond. No, you aren't actually losing a bond. There are so many ways to strengthen your bond with your child. In fact, some parents who have day children are not even as bonded as some parents who have their children in boarding school. But that's a topic for another day. The boarding education in and of itself actually prepares children for the future. It prepares children for life, the independence that they gain, the fact that they have to deal with a number of things and just work with that independently, with different people chiming in to help them solve problems that they have and make sense of life, really does prepare them. So really it's about the person, and we put that big time into consideration when finding the school that's right for your child. One of the things many African parents are often distracted by is the league tables. Oh, this school had like the top A-level results, top GCSEs. And I often say to parents, whilst it is one measure of the school's strength academically, it is only one of so many things that you need to think about when choosing a school for your child. There's some schools who don't even have their results on the league tables, and they will provide a fantastic environment for your child to really develop and be all that God has designed your child to be. So really it's about that child fundamentally. So preparing that child and finding an environment that would really help the child blossom in is a key part of what we do. And that's why we often encourage our parents to please visit the schools if possible. Speak to the senior leadership team members, because that gives you a sense of the ethos and the school culture. So interact with the schools. Be at a fair like this. This is part of your research. This is part of your homework. There's a parent who I've been chatting with. Her son is only in year 2, and she was saying to me she's trying to gather as much information as possible. And I'm like, you are so doing the right thing. The earlier you begin to expose yourself to all the information, the better. So do your research, engage with the schools, visit the schools if possible, ask for a virtual tour, and it would really go a long way in giving you a full picture of whether or not that environment is right for your child. So it is a big part of what we do at Brains and Butter.
Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to come to Nikki with the same question. So how do you in your school prepare children for this evolving world?
Yeah, so we're really excited currently. I feel like we're having a real moment of innovation and going through some change in the school. But we've invested a lot of money in training our teachers, both in the prep school and the senior school, in terms of their use of things like AI in the classroom. And we've just launched our digital strategy to both parents and students, and really making sure that our curriculum is tailored to really promote that digital citizenship and the responsible use of that. And a little bit about Paul was saying, you know, making sure that they can filter out in terms of what's fake news. All of those aspects come into play. But it really has been an exciting opportunity within our school currently, and really goes towards that for us, that development of tomorrow's women.
Thank you. So we have a parent here too, Benedict. So I would love to hear from a parent's point of view. How do you assess a school as it in terms of preparedness, or how they prepare your children for a changing world? What are the things you look out for in your child to know that, yes, the school is actually preparing what are those things you'd want to see in your child to know that the school is preparing your child for that changing world and the future of work? Ms. Benedict, are you here? Okay, so if she's not here, okay, so I don't think she's available right now. All right, so thank you so much for your responses. It's been a lovely conversation, and I totally had fun listening to everyone, and I've learned quite a lot. Thank you so much for your time, and I must thank you for staying on up till this moment. I also want to especially thank the parents too who have stayed on up to this moment. I'm sure you have learned so much. I'm sure you have as well. Okay, so taking the closing remarks now, I'd love to invite the lead consultant for Brains and Butter. I always like to call her the brains behind Brains and Butter, in person of Dr. Alo.
Thank you so much, Da Silva. You've been doing such an amazing job. Before I actually speak, I'd actually like the schools to give any concluding remarks they would like to about their school, because, you know, we've been here since 11 UK time, and I know some parents who joined us in the morning have left. So there parents who are here now who just joined in, because I've been looking at the names. So I'd like to give the schools that opportunity to just say very quickly one or two things about their school, and then I'll be back for the concluding remarks. So Da Silva, if you can please just tell who you'd like to speak, and I'll come back.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so I think the first school I see that's still on the call here is Aldenham School. So if we'll have Aldenham School, a brief summary of you.
Absolutely. Hello to the parents. And if you weren't here earlier, I know that this was live streamed, and you should be able to probably re-access this again to go back and find out what we have said and what other schools have said about themselves. So we are Aldenham. We are in Hertfordshire. We are 20 minutes from central London, but we're actually in a 115-acre site in the Hertfordshire countryside. So we sell that as the best of both worlds in terms of access to everything cosmopolitan that you would get from the city, but also the beauty of being in a Hertfordshire countryside area as well. Very similar actually to Lockers Park, as you'll hear. We're quite near to each other, and we support each other quite well as schools. We are an all-round holistic school. So we provide everything from all the co-curricular opportunities and the academic side as well, and pastoral care at the heart of what we do. And for us, it's all about the whole child. That is our central model of education. And as has been mentioned here by Dr. Ali, that is so important that parents don't get just confused by league tables. League tables take one measure, and what they don't tell you is which pupils that school actually take in. It's very easy to be the top of the league tables, actually. You just turn away 95% of the students. We don't do that. We recognize that all children are different. So the top section, at least the top third of our school, would be in the most academic schools in the country very easily. But we also recognize that some people are not like that, and they also deserve a decent education. So we provide for the middle and those that need a little bit of extra support as well. We have, again, everything from professional sports people. We're very, very sort of proud of our football heritage, and we have plenty of people leaving for professional football and playing in the Champions League right now. We see a pupil who left last year who's playing in the Champions League right now, and that's been absolutely fantastic. Yeah, we're an all-round school, so we'd love to talk to you more. If you want to find out, you'll be speaking with Liz, who's on the call as well, and you can contact us, and we would love to welcome you to come and see our school and meet with you further. And we work with Brains and Butter closely. They've placed plenty of students with us, and they understand who we are. So if you're interested, then do talk with them as well.
Thank you. Okay, so next to go would be Burgess Hill Girls' School.
Hello, folks. I know that's probably conscious that you've just heard from me quite a lot, but really, I think just to summarise, independent day school and boarding, girls only, real champions for the tomorrow's women of the future. Great location in terms of 20 minutes from Gatwick, and 40 minutes on the train to London, and taking advantage of the wonderful South Coast here. Really, it's for us that first-rate education for girls. I think great value for money, and really looking forward to that digital innovators of the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Then we'll have Locust Park School.
Is Nolene still present?
Still here. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah,
yes. So to give a brief overview of Lockers Park, we are a small prep school, day and boarding, nestled in 23 acres in Hertfordshire. We are all boys and proud to be so. We believe in giving boys the opportunities that they might not get in a co-ed, to be brave, to get up on stage, to lead in the first team, football, rugby, cricket, but at the same time be in the choir, express their artistic endeavours, and to be advocates for mental health. So it's really important to us that boys just get to be boys, in a whole new meaning of that phrase. And for us, why would you look at us? Well, it's the family feel. And if the opportunity isn't there for your boy, we really believe in creating it. If the senior school isn't there for your son yet, we go out and find it. We do work with a huge amount of senior schools, including Aldenham, and work alongside Paul Dunstan here, who's on the call as well. And we lead into some incredibly successful senior schools. Our class sizes being only 13 on average means that we work really closely with your sons in developing them for scholarships, looking for whatever is the next step for them, and making sure that we have them leave here with the ultimate confidence in themselves. They won't have access to a huge amount of social media. They won't be distracted by online tech during the day. They will learn about AI. They will engage in engineering, but they will learn about it in all the right ways. And then in their spare time, they will be on the chessboard, out in the shrubs, building dens, exploring sports that they wouldn't get elsewhere, in a golf simulator alongside the golf professionals we have on staff, or in the fitness suite. So there's just so many opportunities in a small family school. So we'd love to hear from you if that's what you're looking for. So please do reach out.
Absolutely amazing. Okay, so parents, if you missed the first 3 schools that presented today, Brains and Butter would make the recording available for you so that you don't get to miss anything. So on that note, I'd like to hand over to Dr. Alo to do the closing remarks. But while you're doing the closing remarks, I would please want you to touch on the fact, I would please want you to speak to the reason why it is important that parents engage a consultant to help in the search for a good school for their children. Over to you, Dr. Alo.
Oh, wow. I can be here all day explaining that. And again, I know you've heard from so many different schools offering similar provisions, but every child is different. Every child is different. It's almost like asking why we need a midwife, or why you need a tour guide, or why you need a consultant for like an ear, nose, and throat issue. It is so important to have expert guidance along with you when you're making this decision. It really does take a village. It's not something you have to go through by yourself. Getting that support and expert support definitely goes a long way. We've seen, as a consultant, I continue to work with so many different schools, so many different SLT senior leadership team members, so many children, so many parents, different families. So there's a wealth of knowledge that you can tap into when you're working with a consultant and when you're having to do this for the first time or doing it all by yourself. So why limit yourself to just your own knowledge? And what you see online is not all that there is to it. There's a lot more. There's a lot of life that you can't really capture online, and you need to actually speak to a human being who's visited the school, who's spoken to the leaders of this school. There's so much you can get from that is behind the scenes, beyond what's written on the tin. So it definitely goes a long way when you engage a consultant. And I really want to say a big thank you to all our parents who have joined in, those watching the replay on YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you for really doing the homework. I honestly, as a parent myself, no one gives us an award, but we are phenomenal people. We do such a fantastic job. We go the extra mile for our children. So to every parent who has dedicated time to be here this morning into the afternoon, it just shows how amazing you are as a mom, as a dad. So well done for being here and for doing the necessary, doing the needful in gathering key information about different schools. To our amazing schools who are so passionate and who believe in what it is that their school has to offer, thank you so much for really letting us know more about your school, speaking to us about your schools. Just like what I was saying, a lot of what you heard today, you will not see on the website. What you felt from hearing the people speak, you will not see on the website. That's why events like this are really important, that human interaction. So massive, massive thanks to all our schools that have been here. And to conclude, the school you attend matters. The school your child attends really, really matters. It is the environment you're planting. It's like the environment you're planting a seed in, and you want to make sure it is the right soil, the right conditions are there. Because if you plant a seed in not so good soil, you don't give that seed the right conditions, the plants won't really grow and thrive, right? So that's how I like to think of the school you send your child to. It really does a lot in shaping who your child becomes, the lifelong friendships they made. I left my school 25 years ago, and my best friends are from my secondary school. I attended in 1993, finished in 1999, and we're still best friends over 30 years on. That is how important the school you attend matters. So, and parents make this decision for us. You make this decision for your child. It is such a key decision that you're making. So being able to gather all this information and making sure you make the right decision for your child goes a long way in the child's life. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And to the amazing team, to my fantastic team behind the scenes, all the messages, all the emails. We're carrying on Monday. It's going to go back to 3 schools per day. God bless you all. Thank you for all the hard work that you've all been doing behind the scenes, and the associates as well. So thank you. Over to you, Da Silva.
Amazing. Thank you for that amazing closing remarks. Yes, you've heard it all. The fair won't be opening tomorrow, but come Monday, we're back here, and it goes back to 3 schools per day. You're going to be meeting 3 amazing schools again. The fair opens at 11 a.m. UK time and 12 noon Nigerian time. So make sure you're here. You don't want to miss it. I promise you, you don't want to miss it. So if you know anyone who is supposed to be here, please let them know that the fair is going to open again on Monday, all through to Friday. We've been having amazing time here, and it's not going to be short of that on Monday. So see you again on Monday, same time, same place. So till then, I remain Da Silva. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.